The rest of it was just, in my brain, it was like.
Okay, we're ready, Ryan.
My kids had.
Okay, I'm calling the meeting to order, October 23rd, 2018, calling to order at 4:32. Roll call.
Ms. Snell?
Here.
Ms. Metoyer?
Here.
Ms. Fleur?
Here.
Mr. Davenport? Ms. Franco?
Here.
Ms. Black?
Here.
Ms. Yelsey?
Here.
Dr. Navarro?
Here.
Okay, so do we have any public comments? Okay, then we will go into closed session. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we're going to call the meeting to order at 6 o'clock, October 23rd, 2018. And we are going to call to order. Okay, I'm sorry. All of a sudden,
Been a long day.
okay. You know what I was trying to do roll call again. But I realized we don't need to do roll call again. And I'm like, Sherry left roll call off of here. But we already did it. Okay, how about the opening ceremonies? A moment of reflection and the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Van.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start with the adoption of agenda.
Adoption of the agenda as presented.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Fleur, seconded by Mr. Davenport. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, adoption of minutes.
Move adoption of the minutes dated 09, 10/09/18.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, so it is moved by Ms. Metoyer and seconded by Ms. Franco. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Introduction of new staff.
Okay, we have a new member of the team thanks to the great partnership between our district and the City of Newport Beach Police Department. So I'm going to ask Dr. Jocham to introduce the new staff.
Great. We'd like
team member.
to introduce everyone to our Newport Beach School Resource Officer, Sabrina Fabry. And I have some fun facts for you about Sabrina. But as she says, she's not sure how fun they are.
Yeah,
But, so she is the newest school resource officer in our partnership, and she has 5 years of experience in law enforcement. The first 2.5 years were with El Segundo Police Department, and the rest has been with Newport Beach. She graduated cum laude from Cal State LA with a degree in communications and is currently in graduate school through Arizona State University School of Public Safety. Is that the Sun Devils?
It is.
It is. And some awards and honors that she's received is the top academic achieving at the Orange County Sheriff's Academy. Ooh. And the Mothers Against Drunk Driving DUI Award for making 30 DUI arrests in one calendar year.
Wow.
And what I think is the most interesting factoid is that she's getting married in 16 days.
Oh my gosh. It's the wedding stress show.
Welcome.
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. Thank you for having me, but more importantly, thank you for your partnership with our police department. I think the relationship that the school district has with our police department is second to none, and having worked at another department, I can assure you that's the case. I'm having a blast so far working at Ensign and all the elementary schools. I've had so much fun going to Flag Deck and getting to know everybody through all the awesome events that they're able to do. So thank you again, and I look forward to a really fun next few years. Thank you.
Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks to Newport Beach, too. Oh, do we want a picture? I don't know. Guess we. Anyway,
Oops, yes.
thank you. I was going to say something nice about you, but
She's getting married, so you have to.
She has bride ring.
no, I was just going to say I'm really glad we have a woman on board. I think we have do we have a woman in Costa Mesa as well?
I don't know.
Well, we have in the past.
We have in the past.
But it's such, it's so good for our girls to see that example of.
We did have Marie Gamble for many years in Newport Beach.
Okay, it was Newport Beach. Okay,
And
so
can-
that's what I was going to say.
Mrs. Snell, I also just want to make a comment. She's not here anymore, but I know talking to Chief Lewis, the rigorous application process to become a school resource officer in our district is really strong, and they don't just pick anybody who just volunteers, I want to do it. I mean, they have to put their names in, but they really look for the right person that gets along with kids, that can relate to the kids and people at the schools, and I think they've done a fantastic job. And in the short time she's been here, I think I've seen her at every school I've been at for
Great.
something, so.
Great.
Speaking of that, can you give us an update a little bit on the status of Costa Mesa and where we are in that?
So what Costa Mesa did, when we talked about this, is they're assigning a third officer on overtime. So they're rotating it. They don't have sufficient staff to assign another SRO, so they are asking their team to do it on overtime. And so they'll assign overtime on Monday and Friday, when each of our officers is off a different day. So we have one that's off on Monday, one that's off on Friday. They'll get somebody on overtime, and then they'll have somebody on overtime that will go to the elementary schools when they need it.
So it won't be the same person necessarily right now?
No, not right now.
Okay. Okay. And moving on, student board member reports, and we're going to start with Van Fine from Back Bay.
Thank you, Ms. Snell. All right, so starting off for Back Bay, our staff continues to devote professional development time calibrating our fluid system. Things are looking up for it. It's looking a lot better than it did when it started out, that's for sure. To date, about 125 credit courses have been completed and 50 partial classes completed. Last school year, we had just 7 students transition back to their comprehensive high school. This year, we are on pace to double that number of students choose to go back for their final semester. Our guest speaker series continued this week with Mr. Miguel Canto of Toller's San Jose Hope Builders. Hope Builders empowers disconnected young people. Hope Builders empowers disconcerted young people who are in danger of not reaching their full potential with the job training and life skills needed to move out of poverty and achieve enduring personal and professional success. Many of our students stayed long after his presentation to tap into some great resources. Last week, we celebrated our second graduate of the year, a young man who was a fifth-year senior who has aspirations of being a special ed teacher and will now pursue his associate's degree at OCC or through the military. We were fortunate that the USAF Special Ops Air Commando experience had a cancellation last Friday, and we quickly jumped on the opportunity to bring the experience to our students. The USAF team of educators and recruiters were amazing, and the experience featured virtual flight simulators, virtual job simulators, and an obstacle course. In an effort to combat malaise and lack of effort, especially as it relates to our yearly issuance of the ASVAB test, we will kick off with an all-school assembly on October 26th, promoting the importance of the ASVAB Career Exploration Program. We are fortunate to welcome Lieutenant Colonel James Alexander, USAF, retired Captain Richard Haas, ASAF, and Explosive Ordnance Disposal A1C Taylor Green, USAF, to come and talk to our students this Friday. While Captain Haas is a local connection, Lieutenant Colonel Alexander is flying in from Florida, and A1C Green from North Carolina. Wow. We believe these 3 men will offer a wealth of worldly knowledge and wisdom to our students, especially since A1C Green is a former student of Mr. Trocchio's, who is not unlike many of the students at Back Bay. November 15th will be our College and Career Expo. In this week's advisory class, students will be tasked to invite a company, a professional, a college, or a trade school they want to see at our Career Expo so they have a greater investment in the experience. That's all for us. Thank you.
Great. Good things going on. Okay, Alex.
So at Corona Del Mar, it's been a very busy last 2 weeks. So one of the main academic updates that we have is that a lot of our seniors have been preparing for college deadlines and preparing their applications. And so something that's really amazing that our school offers is we have these workshops in which our counselors and teachers from our English department actually like help and assist all the seniors with their essays or their personal statements or whatever they need help with. And so I know personally I've been making the most of that resource. And I just think it's really cool that we have an on-campus group of teachers who are so willing to give up their Monday nights to help us students. And then athletically, we've been really busy with a lot of Battle of the Bay matchups against our rival school in Newport Harbor over there. And so last week we had our Battle of the Bay football game and girls tennis matches, which both luckily resulted in CDM victories. And then upcoming actually tomorrow is going to be our Battle of the Bay boys water polo game, which is supposed to be a fantastic game. And then also this last Saturday, our girls volleyball team had their first round of CIF, and that resulted in a 5-set 15-13 victory, which I don't play volleyball, but apparently that's like a big deal.
Yeah, that's a big deal. That's a big deal.
And so we also had our Battle of the Bay rally last Friday, which ASB spent a lot of time working on and making funny videos and like funny games for the entire crowd to participate in. And then there was actually performances from our cheer and song teams, Sparkle, our orchestra dance team, and drumline. So it was really cool to see them all perform in front of us. And then we also had our Battle of the Bay dance, which was a sort of rebranded homecoming. And so in the past, we'd had some trouble with ticket sales, but we actually sold over 600 tickets for our Battle of the Bay dance, and it was hosted at the Ocean Institute in Dana Point. And so it was a fantastic venue, fantastic night overall. And then other than that, upcoming this week, we have our Red Ribbon Week, which is being hosted by PAL. And so I'm sure you all have a pretty good understanding of what it is, but I'm wearing my bracelet right now. It's just promoting an anti-drug lifestyle, and we've had a lot of cool videos and activities hosted by our Peer Assistance League on campus. So that's something that's really cool. And then also this upcoming Thursday, one of my favorite CDM traditions that recently begun, which is our Unified Kickball Games, is occurring. And so that pretty much includes both the general education and special education students, and they all join and play a kickball game together. And so I really think it's a really heartwarming and just fantastic sight to see. And so that's all we pretty much have going on, but it's always fun.
It's always
Thanks.
fun. Thank you. Okay, Lucy. Oh, she's already up.
Good evening. I'm Lucy Dimitrick, representing Early College High School. We're happy to say that our SBAC scores in English and math have been steadily increasing over the past 3 years, with our most recent scores from last year actually being our best ever. These indicators, along with other measures of student learning, are being used to improve instruction for our students in the future. Our PTSA also held its annual rummage sale on October 6th, and along with parents, we had over 60 students volunteering their time to participate in the event. It was a lot of fun. The money raised from the rummage sale will be used to create scholarships for our seniors, which will be given in May of our annual awards night. And our school also started college field trips this month, as our juniors visited Cal Poly Pomona last Friday, and our seniors went to UC Irvine yesterday, which, to be honest, is really helpful as we're applying for college right now, so we get to see the campuses nearby. Fall Spirit Week is being held all of next week. It's an annual tradition of dress up days and lunchtime activities in order for our houses to earn house points. Our school is hosting the third of 6 financial literacy seminars provided by the Wells Fargo Community Outreach Program on November 8th in our MPR at 6:30 p.m. The topic this time is calculating the next cost of college. Lastly, we're proud to have received our PBIS award for our second straight year. Our large PBIS board, which describes our ECHS behavior expectations, can be seen in our quad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, Raphael.
Isaiah's me.
I'm sorry, I
I'll go at
can't-
the end.
I'm Rafael Arias-Torres, representative of Newport Harbor High School. TAR TV, our school broadcasting department that releases videos every other week, has been finishing up their Halloween special that will premiere next Wednesday. They've been working nonstop on the film the past 3 weeks to get this video finished to have it ready to premiere on Halloween. A lot of Newport Harbor students are currently on a trip to the Zion National Forest in Utah with teachers from the science department. They will learn a lot about nature, important survival skills, and create many new memories with the teachers and friends. On athletic update, we played CDM at the Battle of the Bay game. We lost, but we were content with the amount of people that showed up to support the game. The Newport Harbor side was packed with parents, staff, and students, and the tickets sold out 2 days before the game started. Both CDM and Newport Harbor gave it their all and played amazing. Tonight is our last home game for girls field hockey, which means that it is senior night for all the seniors on the field hockey team. Some recent events that have been happening. We held our Battle of the Bay rally last Thursday, and a lot of parents and students came up to the ASB and the ASB teachers to let us know how they see the improvement in this year than the rest of the past years. And all of us in ASB are content to see that our hard work is being recognized. We held a senior tailgate for Battle of the Bay last Friday at 5:30, and our principal, Mr. Bolton, was flipping burgers for all the students that attended, and it helped bring enthusiasm before the game started. Some upcoming events. We have Grandparents' Day this Friday. So we're all grandparents of Newport Harbor students, those who signed up, of course, will be treated to a meal created by the culinary department of Newport Harbor High School. We'll also be having a concert in the park style dance November 16th at Newport Harbor in place of a homecoming. Like Alex, our school also dealt with ticket sales being low, so we wanted to make the school dance more accessible to the greater population of Newport Harbor by making it at school and less expensive. We will have food trucks and live bands will be performing. Many of those bands are former or current Newport Harbor students, so that's going to be fun. And like Alex, we also, ASB passed out red bracelets in support of Red Ribbon Week. And that's all. Thank you.
I love the food truck thing and outside. That's so cool.
Madam President, may I make a comment to Alex and to Raphael? I just wanted you to share with your fellow students how impressive both sides were at the Battle of the Bay game. It was great spirit, great enthusiasm. Yes, it was a lopsided game, but you couldn't tell. And you were just so well behaved, all the students. I mean, it was like a TV scene. You know, if you want the perfect football game, that was it. So just tell everybody how impressive they all were.
Thank you.
That's great. Thank you. And I have to say, if you've never, as a parent, if you've never attended a pep rally, or you call it Battle of the Bay thing, we do pep rallies at Estancia, and I'm sure they do it. They are so fun. They are. The kids just come up with such really great things to do. It's a blast. I love hitting those whenever I can. So I encourage parents to. You're invited. Just find out when it is. It's kind of secret.
You got.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, well, since you're talking about that, and they are here, I was also at the Battle of the Big Game, and the crowds.
I like the T-shirts.
The crowds on both sides were amazing. I mean, the energy. And I actually, as I told Mr. Bolton, I sat on Corona Del Mar's side because I was with my 3 children who were CDM alums. So that's why I sat there. But I also took my grandson, who's 20 months old, and literally it was sensory overload.
Oh, yeah.
He sat there the entire time so into everything that was going on because there's so much on the field, and the cheerleaders, and the student section, and the powder blowing up or whatever. It was pretty amazing, and it is super exciting, even if you don't have kids at the schools.
It's a great Friday night.
Yeah, actually, it's better if you don't have kids, because the people that are around me with kids are like, "Oh my gosh, did he get hurt?" So yeah.
And my children who graduated from
I
there,
was in the rain.
and some of their friends were there with them, all said, "It was not like this when we were at school."
Oh really?
No,
really?
it is entirely
Oh,
different.
good.
The vibe at least a CDM football game. Yes, very different. So they were really impressed.
That's great. Okay, Jennifer.
Alright, good evening.
Good evening.
I am Jennifer from Estancia High School. One of our academic updates is our construction technology has a mentor program with our Southwest Carpenters that provides a sponsorship with the union. And as well for the freshmen, we have a check-in and check-out where our staff members adopt freshmen that are at risk failing. But they do that so the freshmen can also know that they have someone that they can just go in the office and just have someone to talk on and depend on. And one of our athletic updates is our boys water polo are actually doing really good this year. And as well, our Battle of the Bell will be this Friday. And if Estancia wins by a large bit, we can possibly go to CIF. And one of our current events was Fall in Love with the West Side. It was well attended and made a good amount of money that we will use for school activities. This week we will be having Mix It Up Day, which you meet new people, you sit around in the comments with different people, you talk with them, and you just make new friends. And as well, we will have Unity Day tomorrow. We will be wearing orange, and we will have TK burgers and a movie. That's it.
That's my kind of Unity Day.
TK
Thank
Burgers.
you. Okay, so.
Costa Mesa High
I
School.
know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was getting, you spoiled my introduction.
Okay, let's take it back.
Okay, yeah. We have with us Isaiah Murphy, rep.
Isaiah called me this afternoon and apologized because the mock trial club is having a serious, everybody has to be there meeting tonight. And he asked if he could email this to me and would I read his report. And I, of course, said, of course. So, it's in first person, so I will try to second person it. The AP Environmental class has just begun signing up to go on the trip to Morro Bay on November 9th through 12th. Those spots for the trip are limited. Tomorrow at lunch, their College and Career Center will be hosting a lunch and learn for those students that are interested in architecture and engineering. And at Costa Mesa High School, they have different themes for lunch and learn all throughout the whole year. The football team just played its homecoming game, and it was really fun, and is looking forward to the Battle of the Bell on Friday. Tomorrow, the boys' water polo team will be playing Estancia at Estancia. The varsity girls' tennis team just finished #1 in the league for the first time since 2002, and the league finals will be tomorrow and Thursday, and the girls' volleyball team won Battle of the Bell, so kudos to them.
It's not on there, right?
No, I added the volleyball team because I'm going, you forgot the girls' volleyball. First event, they just had their homecoming dance this past Saturday in the school gym where senior Matthew Ashley was crowned homecoming king. Second event, Matthew Ashley was crowned homecoming queen. Miss Nguyen was crowned homecoming queen at the game. Okay, and he didn't have that. Second event, National Honor Society has just completed its first service project of the year, a cleanup of the school's campus on Saturday morning. Actually, it was the campus beautification, and I'm going to talk about that later. The second event, many students are looking forward to the Battle of the Bell rally on Friday, so it's their pep rally, and many seniors are preparing for their UC applications as the application period opens November 1st through 30th, and students are looking forward to the non-student day on November 1st. Teachers, on the other hand, are looking forward to professional development for the entire day.
Good.
So,
Okay, thank you.
You're
Good
welcome.
job.
Nah, he does it way better.
Yes. Okay, Harbor Council PTA report, Julie Link.
Hi, Julie.
President Snell, Dr. Navarro, board members, cabinet, and guests. Our candidate forum recap. We had our candidate forum that was held on October 10th, and it turned out quite nicely. There was a good community turnout, and the candidates all did an excellent job.
They did.
And we wish them all good luck. Parent education sessions. Our next parent ed session is on Wednesday, November 14th, from 6 to 7:30 at Costa Mesa Middle School in the tech room number 190. The topic is Parenting with Love and Logic, a Neuroscience Perspective. The district has changed a few of these dates of the session, so I've given you all revised copies.
Okay.
It says revised date on it, so plug that in. College and Career Night recap. Our College and Career Night was a great success. We had a number of volunteers doing a fabulous job. Setup went super fast, and cleanup took about an hour and a half with 6 volunteers.
That's not bad.
We had a handful of high school students handing out maps, and the photo booth seemed to be a big hit. And Reflections. As you may already know, this is the 50th year for Reflections. This year's theme is Heroes Around Me, and the categories are the same as visual arts, literature, film production, dance, musical composition, and photography. Submission due date to Harbor Council is November 5th. Harbor Council PTA Reflections reception is Thursday, November 15th from 5:30 to 7:30 in the Sanborn Room. And I'm excited to say that our membership total update, I'm hoping to always give this to you, and it's hopefully always going up and up. We're excited to say that as of yesterday, our Harbor Council PTA membership is 4,505. So
Wow.
keep that going, okay?
Wow.
Thank you.
I have a question, and it's for both of you, is that how are we distributing this to parents? How do they know about these parent education series?
Costa Mesa Middle School puts it out on their middle school thing. It goes out on School Loop.
Okay,
at
so
Mesa.
I have it on the website.
Okay.
And I always have flyers at
Okay.
the PTA meetings.
Okay.
I could send it out to all the PTA presidents when I send out my next agenda, which will be coming up shortly, and I can attach it there.
That would be
Because
great,
the thing is the revised thing, that's why I wanted to bring it to you, because I really feel that so much effort has gone through this to planning it all. Wonderful topics, and it is for the parents, but I think if they got to know it and had it on their schedule ahead of time, they would come. So
I do too. What are we doing to assist?
I have to ask Annette because she's
Yeah.
the master behind that.
Thank you. Here she comes.
Hi, good evening, Board, Dr. Navarro, Cabinet and guests. Our Public Information Office has worked very closely with Student Services on the Parent Education Series, and we have distributed via various ways. So it is on all of the calendars on our school websites and our district website.
Good.
It was distributed via our Peach Jar flyer system.
Good.
It was also sent as an email to all parents in our district, and it was promoted on social media, and each one will be promoted on social media as well.
Wonderful. That's great. If there's a change, you mentioned a couple are changed. A couple of the dates have changed.
Yeah.
Then maybe when we can put change of date.
It's
Yeah.
on that paper, on the top of it, it says new date. There's 2 of them.
Okay.
And we have revised flyers on the website
Okay,
as well
good.
if the dates change.
Yeah, if the dates change.
So
when
every,
it goes out.
there's been
Okay.
one change, one time that we've changed it that I know of, and we've updated that
Oh, good.
on all of the methods as well. And we
Okay.
resend it out and take down the old information so it doesn't keep getting spread out.
Good. Oh, good. Thank you, Annette. Okay. Informational items.
Yes, Mr. Lee Sung's going to come up to the
Okay.
podium, give you an update.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Martha, did you?
Yeah, but that's okay.
Sorry.
All right, good evening. A couple months ago, the board approved an agreement with Thought Exchange. And if you recall, we had representatives from the company here demonstrating this new innovative product. And I'm here to show you a preview of our first Thought Exchange here in Newport-Mesa Unified School District. I'm very excited about this new innovative way that we as a district can receive input from a lot of people in a very, I think, amazing way. And so through the thought and idea of Dr. Navarro, we wanted to focus it on a very important and timely topic that we believe is of critical importance, and that is teen stress. And so this Thought Exchange, working with staff from Thought Exchange and Sarah Jocham and myself, put this together, and we are going to launch this next week. So I wanted you to be the first to see it. It is almost 100% ready, and I'll share with you kind of what we're going to add to this when we send it out. But first of all, because this has to do with teen stress, school-related teen stress, the target audience is going to be secondary. So secondary parents, secondary students, and secondary staff. Okay, so this one is just focused on that. So I'm going to share with you when individuals receive this email and an invitation to participate, they will click on a link and this is what they will see. So the first part of this is an introduction. And this screen will actually have a video, a short 1-minute video starring a couple of students, Newport-Mesa students, to talk about what this is. In fact, one of the stars of this video is going to be Raphael, okay? So we're currently working on that, and we'll finalize that by next week. But what I did was I put a script on here just so you get an idea of what the message is going to be. So I know everybody can't read it, so I'll read this out loud. It says, Newport-Mesa Unified School District is using a new innovative process to receive input from parents, students, and staff about important topics. Let us take a moment to tell you a little bit about it. It's called Thought Exchange, and we would like to invite you to participate in the first exchange to help us better understand school-related teen stress and identify possible solutions that we as a school community can take to reduce teen stress in our schools. The well-being of students is incredibly important to our school district, and we encourage you to participate in sharing your thoughts and ideas. On the next few screens, you'll have the opportunity to share your ideas about the key contributors and the ways we can work to reduce school-related teen stress. Then you'll have the opportunity to consider and rate thoughts being shared by others. You will also be able to explore the top priorities of our community. With your input, school, district, parent, and student leaders will be identifying specific actions that will help address teen stress and support their overall well-being. And we want to encourage them to participate. So that would be the introductory message, but it'll be much better than what I just did because it'll be delivered by a couple of our students on video. Okay? Then you click here on the OK button to advance to the next screen, and then we go to a little bit of demographics. So we felt when we're gathering this input, we wanted to know where this is coming from. So the first question is asking, and this is a parent version, by the way, we're asking the parent to identify the age or the grade level of their eldest child. So if they have two, we want the eldest. So in this case, it was marked 10th grade. In what zone? So we wanted to see if there are similarities or differences by zone in our district. And the last question is gender of the student. Again, if they're providing us information, we want to see if there's any differences by gender, or they can choose not to answer. So it gives us some demographics to analyze the data.
So are you asking just parents or our guardians, legal guardians, foster student, foster parents?
Yeah, it's anybody who's in the system will be getting an email.
Okay.
So moving back here, now we go to the question. And the question here is, what are some impactful contributors and ways we can work to reduce school-related stress for your teenager? So they would click on that, and here they would have the opportunity to input their thoughts. So this thought was already put in. I just put it in as a sample, less busy work, time for family. But share your thoughts here. So we could type something in here.
No homework.
Okay, let's say no homework. Okay. And why is that important?
Because it contributes to stress.
Okay.
More time for family.
Okay. What is it?
Get to sleep.
More sleep. Okay, whoops.
Okay, we can go with slept.
Yes.
No, this is going to stay on here, so I want to get it right. Okay. All right. And then we move to the next screen.
But you could do more, or did it say parent and student? Sorry, because it's really.
They can put in more. okay? They're not limited to that. But this is a screen where now they get to see other people's thoughts. And so this person wrote, kids do not get enough sleep. We should limit the number of extra activities to the most meaningful. A student's health depends on it, and they can still be successful in college and careers. So now I get an opportunity to rate this, 1 being the lowest, 5 being the highest. Okay, I kind of like this. Kind of like this. I'm going to give it a 5. So I star it there, and it goes to the next one. No homework, more sleep. Again, I can rate it. Okay, let's give this one a 4. Okay.
Speaking
this
from an educator, right there, yeah.
Unrealistic expectations and trying to be perfect.
Oh, that's big.
Every person has his or her own unique qualities that make a person special and should be celebrated, not compared. I like that because I wrote it. Okay, so I'm going to give myself a 5 on that one. Okay, and so as more and more ideas are up there, people can rate 20, 30 different things, and it all starts to be compiled. So the best and most supported ideas start gaining higher ratings. So right now there's not enough thoughts for it to start giving it a rating, but eventually there will be. So as you can see, this is a very powerful tool, and people get to contribute, they get to see what other folks are saying, and then they get to weigh in. And this will be available sometime next week. We will keep it open for 14 days, and then we will start to analyze the data together. And I think this data could be very powerful in discussions, not only as school leaders, district leaders, parent leaders, student leaders, that we can use this information, I think, to really make a difference in this area.
I was wondering, so the parents will see the parent thoughts.
Correct.
And the students will see the student thoughts.
That's correct.
So they will not, okay.
Yeah, so these will each be separate exchanges, but in the end, when we have all the data and we can compare the different groups, that will, and we'll see all of them, and it might be very interesting for parents and student leaders to say, hey, this is what the staff says. This is what the students say, this is what the parents say, and see the commonalities or the differences.
Okay, Mrs. Flor.
Yeah, a couple of things. I think this is terrific. Will they be, I have like 4 questions. One, is it going to be translated into Spanish and any
Yes.
other language so that they can click on and it'll be, and also the student video, are you doing it in English and in Spanish, or is it just going to be in English?
So, very good question. Right now, it's in English, but we may have to do some kind of translation, maybe, have that listed underneath. I'm not sure what the technology capabilities are of our digital media group.
Our TV is going to be editing, and I'm friends with one of the main editors, and he could edit it so that we have subtitles in Spanish.
Okay, great, perfect. 2, so like you are the first person that answered the question, then you put it in here. Does the ability to come back and revisit it so that, because you're the first person now, there may be 40 other people, so can you
Right.
come back and see, because you only got to vote on 2.
Right, so exactly. So I can go back, I can actually create an account if I wanted to, and I can go back and start starring other people's comments. So I can revisit as many times as I want. There's no limit
Okay.
to that.
And it is anonymous, too.
Right.
Yes, exactly. So if somebody sets up an account, which they can do, they can log in with their account. Thought Exchange has that information, but the ideas, the thoughts, do not have individuals' names on it. So it is anonymous from that aspect.
And then, how often do you plan on doing these?
Well, we can only do one at a time.
Right.
So once this is complete, we're already going to start thinking about what could be the next topic.
Okay. And the reason I'm asking that is because I think that this can be a very powerful opportunity for us as a board and as with the students and the teachers to have to review in public, is to, it's almost to have a study session, to start that conversation, a courageous conversation about this topic, and that we come together as a group and have those conversations in an open, in a forum sort of thing, and review it, instead of us just receiving it at a board meeting, that we have some dialogue about it, and select some students and select some teachers, and really have the opportunity to really
So
delve into
the way
this
this
a
has
little bit.
worked in other districts that are using this, and there are Menifees in the district that uses this regularly, that superintendent calls this the anti-social media, because it's focused on a topic and it gives people the opportunity to rate others' thoughts on this. It's not just your thought. And what they do is he says the information is so rich that when they had to redraw boundaries for schools, and you know how controversial that can be,
Right.
that they got so many ideas, the board took it all into consideration, because it is public comment, that when they made their new lines drawn, they were expecting a huge meeting with a lot of angry parents, and nobody showed up.
Right.
Wow.
So that was his explanation of his experience with it, is that, as long as you're listening to the will of the
Right,
participants, it can be a powerful tool to help you go in the right direction, no matter how you handle it.
And I think that's really important, because, I mean, this topic is, there are some policy implications to a lot of these questions, in terms of that it affects teacher rights in terms of their classroom. But if you talk about, eliminating homework, that's sort of like a policy issue, but also, that's also about teachers and what they believe. And so I think it'll provide lots of opportunities for some good, strong dialogue as the board starts dealing with the policy implications for a lot of this, because that's where the board's realm is. And so I would really like to see us get engaged in some conversations.
Okay, thank you. Ms.
that all four?
Metoyer.
Was that all four? You got- okay,
That's all four.
So after the 14 days is over, will the site be publishing the results of it then, so that it's also online to everybody that had input? They'll receive it? Or will it only be published, the summary piece, to us or to each group?
Well,
That's the part I was confused.
Yeah, and we haven't gotten to that point
Okay.
yet, but this is the first time we're doing it. But the whole idea is that once we get this data and they have the ability to put it in a very understandable format, because as you can see, we'll have some demographic information. We'll see what the differences and similarities are. And I think more powerful than a survey is, rather than just a
the
number,
conversations.
we're actually going to get phrases and sentences and quotes which are going to be much more rich. And we're going to see those being ranked as these are the top 5 ideas
Themes,
that came out of this. And so taking a lot of input to a very meaningful, manageable method.
And, I'm sorry, I had 2 points, I didn't announce it. When this is rolled out, I'm anticipating, since it's secondary, the secondary principals will be talking it up ginormously. PTA will be talking about it at the secondary schools, and using all of our publicity type avenues that we have now to say, hey, everybody, go to this. This is really, you want your voice heard. It's an awesome, okay. Just,
Absolutely.
and then word of mouth should make it just
Right.
grow.
So we do want to get the word out. We are going to be asking all principals to be sending this out. So it's a familiar person that they're receiving this message from.
Good.
And I hope with the support of the students that you will also help get the word out, because this is about supporting all of you.
guys.
Okay? So.
Okay, Mrs. Yelsey.
Yeah, so all parents will know, they'll be notified soon before the 14 days start that this is
Oh,
happening.
yeah. In fact, the idea is to let them know first and then actually send the email with the link on there.
Okay, I really like this first topic that you've chosen, and because I would expect you'll get at least a big turnout from this, from Corona Del Mar, because they've already started Challenge Success, and they had a meeting about this with parents. And I just have a summary. When they left, they were asked to, the prompt was, one way you plan to commit to challenge success in your home. And all the responses had to do with this topic. Less homework, or we won't talk about grades at home, or we won't look at school loop every day, things like that. So these parents were really highly engaged already. but there were about 100 there, which was a great turnout, but it would be, for that school, especially right now, it would be great to have the whole school.
That brings up a good question, a
responding.
good follow-up about what, from a parent point of view, what can you, how can I support this? And a student, how can,
They did a separate one
Yeah,
for students.
it's a great
but,
idea.
yeah.
Great idea.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yay.
Exciting.
Okay, moving on to community comments or community input.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board on consent calendar agenda items or on non-agenda items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Per Board Policy 9323, each individual speaker will have 3 minutes to cover one or multiple topics, and speakers may not cede unused minutes to other speakers, and there is a maximum of 20 minutes of comments per topic. With the board consent, the board president may increase or decrease the time allowed for public comments, depending on the topic and the number of persons wishing to speak. The board, staff, or members of the public may request that a specific item on consent be removed to discussion action. Requests to move consent items must be received prior to the time the board takes action on the consent calendar actions. Any board member or member of the public wishing may request that the matter within the jurisdiction of the board be placed on the agenda at a regular meeting by submission of board policy bylaw 9322 agenda requests form to the superintendent. When a request is made during the public meeting, all verbal requests must be followed up with a submission of Board Policy 9322 agenda request form to the superintendent. When addressing the board, it is helpful you state your name and address for the record.
Okay, we have one card, Gary Logan, CSEA.
Board, Fred Navarro, respected guests, Gary Logan, CACA, parliamentarian. Just come to address everybody. I did the great shakeout with everybody this last October 18th at 10:18. I was at Newport Heights. I reported to the principal and was assigned to the EOC to stand by and see if they needed me. And that was one of the first times I've actually stood by at the EOC and hung around and did everything. And it was very different from my perspective of what we thought we would be doing possibly in a situation like that. The few things I took away from it was everybody worked hard, a lot of teamwork between the teachers and classified staffing and everything. Few little maybe policy changes, Russell, that we might do is, I talked to some of the nurses I talked to after the fact were saying that, they have this great big list, and you need to grab all the students' medication and this, that, and the other, grab the wheelchair and run out the door. Maybe you already have a wheelchair sitting in the shed. Don't have to grab that. Leave their hands open for grabbing their backpacks. One of the things I noticed too was they had a bunch of great shiny new stuff over there at Newport Heights, because they just got their new container with the easy lift door. So no one had to deal with breaking their shoulders and backs trying to get the old container open. But no one knew how to put the hard hats together. They are a little bit of a fun, they're a little bit of a jigsaw puzzle if you've never put a hard hat together.
Oh, they weren't put together.
I thought they came together, yeah.
Good to know.
So other than that, everything was great. I know a lot of our staff is looking forward to our Ed Days coming up on November 1st. We have a great lineup of class. I know there's a little grumblings in my department since we have some mandatory training that's sort of wedged right in the middle, and we can't go to the first aid classes or anything and some of the other classes, but hopefully we can work that out for next year.
Yeah.
But it's glad to see the training coming. I know that's what CSA has been asking for, and I'm sure there's going to be a little growing pains as we get it all to fit into place. And other than that, thank you for your support of classified personnel.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing.
This is cool.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna take this one.
Superintendent's report.
I'd just like to follow up and thank Gary for his suggestions. That's exactly what Mr. Lee Sung had intended, was that everybody take this seriously, look at what we're doing, go through it as it was actually happening. And I reported to Mr. Lee Sung, my thought was that everybody did take it more seriously than ever before. And we had a lot of great feedback. He got a lot of good information. So thank you, Gary, for that. I appreciate that. That's exactly what we experienced here at our site as well. And, just thank Mr. Lee Sung for his leadership in making this important for everybody.
Great.
It was a great day.
So do you take apart the hard hats afterwards so that the next group has to put them together?
No, they didn't get a chance to do anything. They just sort of told me to go stand by the tree in the shade, and they went and did all their stuff. Yes, Ted was there too.
Good,
Thanks.
good.
I was at
Right.
Oh,
College
I'm
Park.
impressed.
Okay,
Good.
okay, consent calendar.
Oh, okay. I have to read, do I have to read this too?
Yeah.
All items listed under the consent calendar are considered by the board to be routine and will be acted by the board in one motion. This includes the consent calendars for business, education services, human resources, student support services, and superintendent. There will be no discussion of these items prior to the time the board votes on the motion unless members of the board, staff, or the public request specific items to be discussed and/or removed from the consent calendar. Public requests of items to be discussed and/or removed should be submitted in writing prior to the board's consideration of the consent calendar. Thank you.
Move approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Second.
Okay, so it's moved by Mrs. Black, seconded by Mrs. Fleur?
No.
Oh,
Me.
I'm
Franco.
Franco. And all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so it carries. So we're on to 17, public hearing.
Yes, this is your annual public hearing for sufficiency of materials. Mr. Drake, any comment?
No, this is, like you said, the annual hearing for sufficiency of textbook and instructional materials in all of our classes for students.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
You have to open the public
It's a public
hearing.
hearing.
I'm
Just
sorry.
open- You have to open it
No,
up
you
and close
don't.
it.
No motion.
I know that. Once, yeah, okay.
That was just
Okay,
a
I'm
keyword.
opening the public hearing. So we have no cards? Nobody wants to speak? No? Okay, and I'm going to close the public hearing. Okay. So we're moving on to discussion action calendar.
Move adoption of Resolution 09-1018 in compliance with requirements of Education Code Sections 60119 and 60422B, sufficiency of textbooks and instructional materials.
Second.
Okay, so it is moved by Mrs. Fleur and seconded by Mrs. Black. All in favor?
Aye. Oh, no, it's roll call.
Roll call.
Oh, I'm sorry, roll call.
Ms. Snell?
Yes.
Ms. Metoyer?
Yes.
Ms. Fleur?
Yes.
Mr. Davenport?
Yes.
Ms. Franco?
Yes.
Ms. Black?
Yes.
Ms. Yelsey?
Yes.
Okay. 18B, appoint members of the Measure F Citizens Oversight Committee for 2019 calendar year. Mr. Holcomb.
Yes, according to the bylaws of the Oversight Committee, members serve a one-year term and are appointed for that one-year term. So we have a current constituency of 6 members. The bylaws called for 7. So we have recommended a replacement person for the one person who chose not to serve. And that's all in your packet. And we would respectfully request that you approve the slate that you have in front of you. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
So I'll move to appoint the following individual, Laura Ursini Marroquin, Community Relations at Newport Naples Rib Company, and she's representing an active business member. Then, is that the one we're supposed to vote on, or do you want the full?
Actually, you need to appoint all of them.
Okay.
One thing we could look at, I know there was a question about, do we need to do this every year? And the way that the bylaws were written and that they were approved in November of 2016, it is a one-year appointment. So that
Okay.
we could rewrite the bylaws if you would like, but we really need to appoint all 7 people again.
Okay, so, that's an appointment, and then move to reappoint Lee Ramos, City of Costa Mesa Senior Commission. This member is representing a senior citizens organization. Reappoint Mitch Vance, TVG Partners, one member of a bona fide taxpayer organization. Reappoint Julio Zuzunegui, Mariners parent. One member must be comprised of a parent or guardian of a student enrolled in the district. Reappoint Rich Rutledge, estancia parent and PTA member, one member who is both a parent or guardian of a student enrolled in the district and active in a parent-teacher organization or school site council. 6, reappoint Suzanne Gauntlet as a member at large. And 7 is reappoint Bob Uten, member at large.
Second. Who did it?
Dana and I.
Dana, okay. Okay, so this is it's been moved by Ms. Fleur, it's been seconded by Mrs. Black. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, wonderful.
Thank you for their service. It's
Thank
been
you,
really
yes.
great.
Absolutely. Okay, 18C, approve updates to the English learner reclassification criteria. Vanessa Gailey.
Mrs. Snell, Dr. Navarro, members of the board, cabinet, esteemed guests. We're very pleased to bring this updated reclassification criteria to you. You may recall that we brought some forth in June, and the purpose of that was to bring in grade levels kindergarten, first and second, which was not something our district had done prior, as well as to introduce an alternate reclassification criteria for students with an IEP. So this set of reclassification criteria merely updates the language assessment component. Prior to now, we used the CELT, and now we're using the LPAC, the English Language Proficiency Assessment for California.
Easy for
so
you
we're
to
just
say.
incorporating the incorporating the newer assessment.
Okay, any questions?
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate,
you.
well, I do appreciate, this process matters a lot in the lives of our kids, and by making sure that we have a stringent and accurate reflection of the capability of a student to perform the regular day-to-day tasks in a classroom in English is really critical. We don't want to inflate our numbers because we made our criteria too easy, nor do we want to make it so hard that our English-only kids couldn't pass it either. So I know how much work it takes to do this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's all right. Mrs. Fleur.
Yeah, again, I appreciate all the work, because gone are the days when it was just, pass this little test and move on. And it's so, as Mrs. Matoya said, it's so critical, but could you explain exactly what happens when a kid is reclassified and what support is offered to the student?
Yes. So when a student is reclassified, first there's a big celebration. It's a great time in the life of a student and for their parents to recognize the student having reached this status. So all of our schools have a certificate. Many of them send home letters. We all send letters and forms for the parents to sign. Typically, our elementary schools in particular will have a celebration, some sort of student recognition parties at the secondary level as well. In the middle schools especially, and in the lower grades at the high schools, it opens up the elective opportunities for students. So we really want them to know that it's important to work your hardest in grades 5 and 6 and try and reclassify before you get over to 7th grade. And again, when we try and make a big push at the bridging to 7th grade and again to 9th grade. And so typically it's about the elective opportunities that a student will have, as well as the amount of designated ELD supports that they will have. We do provide tutoring to all students at our different schools through various means. So not necessarily only for students who are English learners, but because students are students and they need support. So those are some of the things that happen, is the recognition as well as some of the additional class offerings.
Great. And I think it's important just to read what these are. Not only do they have to pass an assessment of an English language proficiency, but they have to, teacher evaluation is very important, including but not limited to the review of the student's curriculum mastery. Parents' opinion and their consultation is really important in terms of reclassification. And then also a comparison of students' performance in basic skills against an empirically established range of performance in basic skills based on the performance of English proficient students of the same age. So I think
Correct.
that's really important.
Thank you. And I'd just like to recognize that not only do we rely on the Smarter Balanced assessment, but we really worked hard to find additional components that we could use in the non-tested grades. And so that's something that we've had for a number of years.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Move approval of the updates to the English language learner reclassification criteria.
Second.
Okay. So it's a move by Ms. Matoye, seconded by Mrs. Fleur. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. 18D, approve the proposed cooperative agreements with the City of Costa Mesa and Newport-Mesa Unified School District for submission to the City of Costa Mesa for the improvement, maintenance, and operation of the athletic fields and related recreational facilities at Kaiser and Davis Magnet School. And
Dr. Bauermeister is going to take us through this, but I wanted to give the board a little background.
Okay.
You know, that at the previous board meeting, you gave us authority to enter negotiations and execute a contract with the city. We really appreciate the three-member board committee, the ad hoc committee, coming together last week, working with Dr. Bauermeister and myself on some modifications and updates to both of the agreements. We are in a place where we're ready to go now and negotiate with the city. I think what is important is that there may be time when we come back to that three-member board again and say, look, these are some proposals we're not sure of, and we want your feedback on this and direction before we bring back the final one to be ratified. But really appreciate the three board members, and I appreciate those board members that got it this weekend and had a chance to look and make some comments. So Dr. B's done all the work on this, so.
President Snell, members of the board, Dr. Navarro, cabinet, distinguished guests. Board members, before you have two different contracts. The Kaiser contract has not changed since the first one that you got. So I'm going to point you towards the second contract, the Davis Magnet School contract. And if you'll turn to page 4, there's just a few changes, but I think by explaining them, it'll help you with the contract in general. So on page 4, under 4.1E, this is duties of the city. It says, upon execution of this agreement, city shall deposit it into an escrow account. It says number to be determined. It did say $1 million because we talked about putting in for architect and design up front. What we've come to agree on is to put it in for the architects up front. So it'll probably be about $500,000 each for each project. Mr. Holcomb's going to give me that number. If you look at the remainder of that paragraph, it says city will deposit additional funds as defined in B for the district to pay invoices for consultants and contractors in connection with the improvement. So they'll give us the money up front in an escrow account to pay for the architects. Once we figure out what the construction costs are, they have to pay us up front before we start that work. So that's the way the contract will be. In 4.2A, it says the city shall establish 2 separate accounts dedicating to saving for replacement costs in connection with the artificial turf and permanent sports lighting. Those are the 2 main features at Davis. If you go down a little bit further, it talks about replacement for the artificial turf. And if you go down about 5 more lines, it says that we're setting aside 10% of the estimated replacement cost on an annual basis because the shelf life of an artificial field is about 10 years. So that would cover the cost, then we'd have the money when it was time to replace it. If you go down a little further, it says each year the city will deposit 5% of the estimated replacement costs into an escrow account for the lighting system. The life of lighting systems is 20 to 30 years, so we're only asking for 5%. Because they last quite a bit longer. Let's see, the only other thing, that was it. Those were the only things that were changed in the Davis Magnet that I wanted to point out to you. Everything else is the same as it was before.
Okay, I have a couple questions. And these are kind of generalized questions. There's several terms that are used, and I believe they're for certain things, but I just want to clarify. So, administrating the contract. We are administrating the contract. We are the lead agency. So how is that different? And it speaks of a project. We are also the project manager. So how are those? What's the difference?
Since it's on our property, we have to manage it, and we have to go by the state ed code, and Mr. Holcomb can probably explain this better than I can. The city is taking the lead on the CEQA process because it is their project, they're paying for it. But we are hiring all the consultants, we are hiring all the architects, we are the project manager because the project is on our property. They'll just run the CEQA process.
Okay, so they are the lead agency
On
the CEQA process.
Yes.
But they will be our partner through this whole process.
No, yeah, I know. I'm just, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
cut
no.
you off.
And
but-
that, this will also, as we go into construction phase, there'll be possibly, we'll bring in a construction management firm to also help us so that it doesn't impact our staff with our projects that we have to do, because they're hired to do district work, and this is on top of our work. And so, that's all going to be handled as the time we get to the construction phase of how we're going to manage it. But ultimately, it's your property, and you're liable for whatever's put on this property. And you remember, I'll just echo Dr. Reed, who said, school construction is the only area where you can be personally liable for anything that goes wrong, as a board member.
Say that again?
Yes, schools construction is the only area in the law where you can be personally liable for anything that goes wrong.
Which is why there's all this insurance in the back.
And I've actually even heard Mr. Holcomb say that many years ago to a board. So we have to protect your interests, both as a board member and personal on this. So that's the reason we need to be the lead agency. We will try to do this so it has little impact on your current staff who have their own projects and know what they're doing.
Okay, so I had a couple other questions because I wasn't part of the initial committee, so this could have been addressed. I was wondering, this would be with Kaiser. Kaiser is getting a turf, not an artificial turf.
No.
They're getting a regular grass field.
Yes.
And I know there's a reason for this, but I don't know what it is. But why are the responsibilities separated, like dethatching versus irrigation, aerification, overseeding? Why isn't just one, especially since the city reimburses us for doing our part, why isn't just one agency doing it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Let me show you where to go. I should have said that at the beginning. It's 4.2C on the Kaiser.
Yeah, and what it's talking about is during the summer rest period, the city will be responsible for doing these things during that rest period. They'll be taking care of the turf, getting it back up to speed, and they'll be doing that work and the cost of it during their time it's down.
Okay, why? But I guess I'm just wondering why it's split. Why they're doing some things and we're doing some things.
No, they're actually going to reimburse us for all that work.
I know.
But,
so why don't they just do it?
If you look at, because you have contracts with employees who are hired to work on our school property,
Oh.
okay?
That's what I
And
was
so we
looking
do
for.
not, we do not contract out their work.
I see.
So that's why the city has to pay us for it.
That's why it's separated. Okay.
And that one is the yearly care,
Mm-hmm.
when you have to rest the field. So you do the aerification, the deep watering, the replacement of sod and so on. The others are more routine
Right.
issues. We also are responsible through our, if you look at D4, we're also responsible through your integrated pest management system control on controls of weeds. We do not use weed killer
Right,
anymore.
right.
So we can't allow the city to come out and use any of their chemicals on our property.
Okay. That's what I was looking for. And then under 6, and this is on both of the contracts, use of fields. District shall have priority use of the fields on days that school is in session, including summer school, until 4 p.m. And district-approved events. Is there something in there that has a time limit? I mean, if the city has scheduled the field for one of the local sports organizations, we can't just come in.
What we have in the past.
I don't think that, I just don't think
So
that's
let me
fair.
explain to you
Okay.
when that happens.
Okay.
So if, let's say one of our fields goes down, all the lights are going down at Mustangs Field, and all of a sudden we need a place for a JV football game. We have to take care of that. And so we do that, and it typically happens when teams go to playoffs. because we don't know if our team's going to playoffs, and all of a sudden we get assigned a team, a playoff game, and we have to use our field when they've already scheduled, so they do have to sometime, and that is part of the use agreement, that they may
The
be bumped up.
JUA?
Yeah,
It's part
well,
of the JUA as
yes.
well?
So this is just a furthering of that. Now, Davis and Kaiser are going to be different. They're not secondary schools, so it's in there in case we have open house, and we want to let them know ahead of time that we'll have a big crowd, so we can't have people parking on our property and so on. If they're having, maybe Sarah Jocum's division is moving a special ed soccer tournament there, we want to give them prior notice. And usually we have plenty of time, but there are times when things come up.
Okay, so the only time we wouldn't give them considerable prior, because a lot of these groups,
Yes.
they're having
Yes.
special things. So the only time we wouldn't give them sufficient notice, which would be like 30 days, I would think, is if there's an emergency of some kind.
Or something unexpected comes up.
Unexpected. Now, summer school, I didn't think summer school went till 4. It goes till 4. It says, including summer school.
So your fields are used in the summer after, and we have summer camp, right? The Smarts Camp with the city of Costa Mesa. They do go until, what time do they go till, Kirk?
2:30, that's
2:30.
actually the city's program, not
Yeah,
ours.
so it's 2:30. But however, these are still school fields, and maybe one of our teams is scheduling it during the day for their practice, so they may practice till 4. And this is really consistent with your JUA, which says that the city takes over at 4 o'clock. So this is consistent with the ongoing JUA.
I know, but the JOA doesn't talk about summer school.
It says 4 o'clock throughout the year.
Well, how long does summer school run? Does anybody know?
5 weeks? 5 weeks?
Well, if the overlapping programs, it depends on how many are at each school, right?
Well, I noticed it was inserted in here, so I'm just trying
Yeah, we're just trying to be above front with
And when you say
everything.
summer school, to me, when I hear summer school, I don't think about the summer programs, I think about summer school. So, I don't know if there should be some kind of a.
But our teams do practice. We have teams, and there are teams that use, our teams do practice, and there are teams that, especially at Kaiser, that we have, because we don't have the luxury of having fields, so they are practicing on those fields.
Okay.
Like field hockey or lacrosse. Because
I guess, okay.
Soccer.
Okay.
And CIF starts early, so it's in the summer.
Yeah, but that's not during summer school, so.
Got it.
That's what I'm
School
saying.
during
It's the
right.
summer school part that's, and summer school is usually only at one school or two schools. It's not, so if you read this, it's like only at the school that is doing summer school, correct? If it says district.
Well, we're not, I would tell you that we have used a different site for elementary summer sessions every year. We don't know where it's going to be.
Right. Is it ever at Kaiser or Davis?
It has been.
It has been. Yes, special ed is.
Special ed
So
has
maybe
had
it should
it.
say including summer school.
We could say summer programs if you'd rather.
Yeah, I would rather, because I think summer school is misleading.
We could say summer
It's- yeah.
programs.
Because we don't.
On
hold
both,
summer-
on both contracts?
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry.
I'm sorry. See, I should have come to this.
Then that would have been a Brown Act violation.
That's true. That's true. That wouldn't be, okay. I noticed there's security fencing. So the fields are locked when no one is using them?
The fields are supposed to be managed anytime there's a permit on it, and so
Okay.
they will be locked unless you have a permit,
Okay, so,
especially on the artificial turf,
I was gonna,
Davis.
yeah. But what about Kaiser? Because Kaiser has.
You know what, I think, and I've talked to Kirk about this, and I've heard this for many years since I've been back, is that when we get these put in, they're going to be used all the time by the sports leagues, youth sports leagues. There probably won't be any time when it's not used,
Okay.
except for Kaiser when they have to let the grass regrow.
Right. Okay. So the neighborhood's not going to really have any access to it.
The
And-
neighborhood?
At Kaiser?
Ooh. Well, the Kaiser's got tons of fields Besides,
I'm
There's a-
just,
yes.
I was
I'm
told.
just clarifying, yeah.
There's a
I-
park next to Kaiser on the other side by the Boys Club.
Boys and Girls Club,
Yeah.
yeah, and I don't know whether that's going to have a security fencing across the back of it or not. Does part of
Well,
it have it?
you'll see the design as we come through to that part. At that point, it will be handed back,
Oh, we'll
handed
see
off
the
to
design first,
to
okay.
Mr. Holcomb, who'll work with the architects.
Okay. It says on both of them that the operation of Davis or Kaiser Field will be exempt from the JUA and with the city. Hours of operation to be determined after the CEQA process. So is that something we sit down together with the city and decide on after CEQA weighs in?
It may be a mitigation that's agreed upon through the CEQA process, where the CEQA administrator tells us what what they've brokered with the residents. Tim knows that better than me.
Okay, Tim.
How would that work, Tim?
How would that work? Because it doesn't say whom makes the decision. It just says it'll be determined after the CEQA process.
Yeah, the best way to think about this is the process that we just went through with the sports field renovations at Corona Del Mar High School that are currently under design. And you'll recall that there was a lot of discussion during the EIR, the Environmental Impact Report process, about the hours of use. And ultimately, the district put in a new hours of use policy for those fields as a result of the community input. So I imagine that the concept of this is that in that conversation, the community may say that they want a little bit different use periods than what our current board policy says, and if so, then it would reflect those. So that's
Okay, so
that's
we'll
what that
have
kind
some
of
say.
terms would allow. Yeah, it would all be about what the conversation is and how the EIR gets approved by you, and you are the approving body for the
Okay.
EIR.
Okay.
Madam President, I'm really sorry, but we seem to have two different documents, and so we are extremely confused. At least I am, let me put it that way, because the document that we have in hand is not the same document that's posted. And so,
That is correct. You have the Davis document has been updated.
no, we're talking about the Kaiser document.
Oh.
So, I mean, we're talking about the Kaiser, and that's the one we're going
This
through
one's been
now.
updated.
The Kaiser one is
physical one we have
not.
in our hand has not, is the old one, because it's different than the one that's.
Okay.
That's online. The online one is.
Is
So
the
we're
update.
having there's some confusion because things that are on the one that we're actually referring to those items have been removed on the online one, and they're not in here. And I can give you a perfect example if you'd like, so that we're having a
Yeah, that's
problem
the one
here,
we're
is on the document that we have in front of us, item
On
C.
Kaiser or Davis?
For Kaiser. For
Okay,
Kaiser,
so
it talks about.
I think I know what happened. I think what happened is I did not give Sherry the updated version
Okay.
of the Kaiser.
Okay.
And there was only one version of Davis.
Got it.
So
Okay.
you are correct. You have the version we worked on last Friday.
This was our document.
What
And
was
it
our working
was not
document.
corrected.
So
Yeah.
the correct one is the one that's
That's
online.
online,
That the
yes.
public
Well,
got.
that's
Yes.
good news.
That's great news.
That's good news, except that, okay. It's
Okay,
it becomes
she's not done.
confusing, but you're not finished yet.
I'm not
but-
finished,
So you
yeah.
need to figure out which one you're referring to, because.
Well,
I'm gonna
I've
think you're-
got this one, and, but if it's already been made on there, then
We don't know yet.
okay. Okay.
I've been checking. So
You've been checking. Okay, good.
that's why I'm sorry.
Okay.
Are you on Kaiser now?
Because I really haven't made any changes. I've just pretty much asked questions. Except for the use of fields, that we change it to summer programs.
I like that.
Okay, we've made that change.
This is new to, I've never seen this.
The insurance is the same on both documents, so we didn't make any changes to the insurance.
Okay, let me just go through this. Okay, so I had no other changes on that one, but on Davis, I'm on Davis.
Page?
Page 2, joint duties. Actually, I'm sorry, page 3. C, there's an extra extent. in the second line.
Okay, so there's a double word?
Yeah, to the extent, there's an extra extent.
Okay, that is because the superintendent
Missed that one.
is not the best typist in the world.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you for catching.
Oh, you're welcome. You know, I always catch that kind of
I'm
stuff.
fast, I'm just not accurate.
Really? Okay, page 5, J. It says, should city decide to waive fees for use of the fields, blah, blah, blah. What would be the circumstance where they could waive the fees? I mean, they get it for free. The city gets to use it for nothing.
They charge the user
Nothing.
groups.
I mean,
They charge the user groups.
right. But what I'm asking is, what other circumstance would they waive fees? Would they be able to waive fees for anybody they choose to waive fees for? Because if they waive fees.
Typically, they don't waive fees for adult groups, but they do waive fees for youth sports groups at times, depending on the event. So they may waive a certain fee if it's an all-day tournament for soccer. They may waive this fee or that fee to help the youth sports, the nonprofits. But that would be up to them. And it is a practice. And Kirk, can you think of any others that they've done? I know they do them, I just can't think of any
Yeah, I
instances.
can't think of it top. It may be tournaments that they've had for a long period of time. I don't know.
So can I ask a follow-up question to that, Mrs. Snell? So are there policies in terms of, is it governed by, so it's uniformly applied?
Oh,
or
I can think of one, the Pilot Cup.
There you go.
They waive those fees.
Okay.
That's the kind of thing they do.
I think what I was a little concerned about, not hugely, but I don't know how to say this.
Preferential treatment is afforded, and that's why I asked the question of whether there is a uniform application to the waiver process, so that it's not just benefiting one group of users, but it's applicable to all groups of that user. Because I share your exact concern.
And again, I'm just going to refer to back what my experience has been is when I know they've waived them, it's because it's a joint activity between us and the district and the city. Those are the only ones I've known. There might be others, but we can ask them to give you more examples.
Is there any way we could put that there has to be an explanation of why something was waived?
We don't manage the permits after 4 o'clock. The city manages all the permits.
Well, it does.
But we get money from.
We do.
We get money, so I would think that do we get a list that says everybody that used it, or do we just get?
Is
Is there a report?
I would have to defer back to Mr. I think that's going to be another.
It's not under
This is a matter of trust, I guess.
It does say here that the city will charge, it does say at the bottom, it says, should the city waive fees for the use of the fields, city shall use its lowest rental rate charged to Group 3 and Group 4 nonprofits to calculate the revenues for the purpose of this section. So I think the question is exactly that. Do we get an end-of-the-year accounting of the fees, A? B, which ones were waived?
Which ones, what they were charged?
And what they were charged. And C, there's evidence to back up the waiver, A, and the charge, A.
Yeah, if I owned something, and somebody was renting it out for me, I'd certainly, and I was getting the money for it, I would certainly want some sort of accounting. And so they don't do that now, is what you guys are saying. Not sure.
As far as to the best of my knowledge, no, they do not do an accounting like that. It's really that there are certain fields that are scheduled by the city, and it's entirely part of the city's process and not ours as part of our joint use agreement with the city.
Yeah, and I frankly don't want to join the process, I just want to report.
So, and I guess the question is, these are separate.
I think the trade-off years ago, I was a principal, it was explained to me by Dr. Barbeau. The trade-off was they were going to manage all the permits, so that we did not have to hire people to run those permits. And they were just going to take a portion of that money, pay for the people they hired,
Sure.
and give us the rest of the money for the wear and tear on the field. So that's kind of been it. I don't think they've ever been asked to tell us when they waive and when they don't waive.
Okay. Can we ask them? Can we ask them for a report? Can we ask them how difficult it would be? I don't want them to have to hire someone just to do the report, but how difficult is it? I mean, I bet you they have a listing of all this.
We can certainly look into that.
Thank you.
But again, we have to look at this as these are only 2 fields.
Right.
This only pertains to.
Yeah, that's all I'm talking
So I
about.
think that the
Yeah.
question is that, you know, if this is the case, that these fields, especially the Kaiser one, could in fact be interpreted to be looked at as part of the negotiation of the new JUA. And so since this language is in this one, I would hope that we would ask for, and if it's listed, is that there is an accounting, that at the end of the year, there's an accounting, because if we're saying that this is what they're going to do, that they can charge, they can waive, and they're going to turn the money, and the city shall pay district the difference within 45 days of the end of the 4th quarter, that there's going to be an accounting, I'm assuming, right?
Although Kaiser is not in the J-Way.
Okay, I will,
Kaiser Field.
so here's what we do, because this is a different agreement.
is a separate
So
agreement.
if I hear the board now, you want to make sure there's an accounting process in these 2 agreements that will tell us what the fees are that collected,
Yes.
which fees are waived,
Yes.
and that we will get that report
So we can
on
make sure that
on a
it's-
yearly basis or something like that.
Right.
So we will make that change
Okay.
to this
Yeah.
document.
I have a couple more things, but Mrs. Black, did you have something you wanted to talk about that?
I'm answering it myself as we go along.
And I only had one, mine is really,
I'm not,
really quick.
I'm not done, though.
Okay.
Oh, unless you want to speak to that particular thing.
No, it's just a date question, so
Okay.
I'll wait if you want.
Thank you, yeah. I'm almost done, I really am.
No, because we're going to enter this in 2000.
Oh, page 12. 13.5.
Kaiser Davis.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on Davis.
Okay, I got
I'm
it.
done with Kaiser, okay.
Be done with Kaiser.
So we can have some more
District
conversation.
is misspelled, that's all.
Oh.
I can't help it.
I so am, if I ever get a dissertation, I'm having you edit.
Which one was that one, Kaiser? Davis?
Davis.
I got it.
Page 12, okay.
13.5.
You got it? Yeah, page 12, yeah. And district is misspelled.
Yes, it is.
I can't help myself.
Distrist.
The
It
district.
is, it is. Okay, and now I'm going to move on to Ms. McQuaid.
Okay, I look at the first page of both agreements. Are the effective dates are different on purpose or not on purpose?
No, there's an
They
error.
both should be 219. I didn't put it on Kaiser,
Thank you.
so I need to change that.
So this is not happening until January of 2019? Versus happening once,
That, the lawyer gave that back to me with that on it, so.
okay, well, I'm just questioning, because we're approving it, then it's going to the city? And are we assuming that the city's going to take its time and not do this until it's not effective until the first day in 2019, or is it effective once the city, could it be effective in 2018?
It could, so we'll change it to 2018 if it is.
I just am at a quandary on that.
Right,
Why?
so this is our document in return to them. So we have the dates really should be blank, because when they.
Full date.
When
The
they,
whole thing.
the date of the execution there should be blank, because we don't know when the council's going to approve this, and we'll use that effective date on this contract.
Or it could say 2018 parentheses 9, I mean 18.
Does it come back
We
to us?
actually need the day that they approve it
Well,
on
when they
here.
do it, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The day and the month and the year. So that's what, it should really all really just be blank.
We'll just blank out the whole thing.
Okay. In theory, we want it done as soon as we can, just for those
Got it.
in the audience that are wondering how long we're going to take with it.
Okay.
Okay.
I bet Gordon's
Is that your
shaking
only
back
question?
there.
There's a few. That was,
You know,
because I checked the document online, the questions that I had were
Okay.
answered.
I have one.
So we have several members of the youth committee, the youth
Costa
sports.
Mesa United.
Yeah, and so I know a couple of you may want to speak. You can fill out a card. We're still in discussion if you want to speak. Yeah, there you go. Okay, good. Go ahead, Martha.
I have a couple of questions because I know that we worked on this really hard on, Friday afternoon? Yeah, I think it was Friday. Refresh my memory about the access to additional toilet facilities. I'm speaking about the Kaiser one, page number 7. I honest to God don't remember seeing this. I know there was some discussion about access to facilities and being able to walk through the campus, security campuses in terms of that, but I don't remember we talked anything about allowing and will approve the type that we were going to, that there might be a need for additional toilets, and there was that we were going to allow additional toilets to be placed on the Kaiser field. I don't remember that being, is that a new, or was that there?
No, it was in there.
Okay.
And you did ask that question.
Okay. And then,
It just gives us the ability to add more toilets if we want to.
And to
it's the
know what
district.
kind.
Yes.
The district.
Yes.
But it's at the user group's expense, though, it says.
Yes.
Okay.
It says district may require user groups to pay for these additional toilet facilities.
So that
So
we
it's-
Okay.
get the ones that are appropriate for our school and use. and
Okay, okay.
It's your
I'm just
decision.
thinking because who's issuing, we won't know who the user groups because we're not the user. We're not issuing the permits.
Well, this could also be an issue when it comes back from DSA. If they think our permanent bathrooms aren't close enough, they might require the city to build a bathroom unit. Would that be a possibility, Mr. Holcomb?
Yes. That is a possibility.
Yeah,
Well,
so,
see, that's why I'm asking, because then it looks like we're on the hook for those
no,
bathrooms.
the user is the city.
Well, it says user groups. So that would, then that should be the, I don't know. I'm just asking.
Yeah, we'll ask our attorney to look at that language.
Yeah.
But it would be part of the design that the city would have to pay for. Because the DSA will tell you up front, just like they did
Right.
at Mustang's Field, when initially we thought we could use the bathrooms that were in the middle school enclave. And we came back and they said, no, those are too far. And so we had to build a bathroom, we had to build facilities
Right.
on Mustang's Field. So that is a perfect example. That's what I remember from that. This may be the same situation.
Okay, so and then the second one is, we'll provide the custodial services. Where is it about the security, that the city is going to provide the security services for the ambassador and I don't remember seeing it, so I'm just asking, because
I
remember we
saw it in
talked
here.
about that. We talked about the security fencing, but in terms of the ambassador program and who's going to be watching that? And where is it listed?
It's on, gosh, I saw it in here. It's on page, I think it's on page 6. City shall provide personnel necessary for the direction or supervision of activities scheduled by city on the field.
Yeah.
Is that
Aye.
secu- is that considered
what I-
security?
Yes, that's their
Okay.
field.
Yeah.
And their park rangers.
Okay. And then the use of the fields and the light, especially I'm talking about Kaiser again, the lights, they're falling under the same constraints as we have for all of our for the district-wide lighting
No,
process?
that'll be determined by the CEQA process.
Well, I know that in the Davis one, it talks about CEQA.
It does in the
But
other one, too.
if we're talking about that it's going to be determined by the CEQA, then why are we listing the lighting here?
It's what page are you referring to?
Well, it
Mrs.
says
Ford?
here, it says on number 2, it says the hours of operation will be exempt from the JUA. On page 2, 1.3, it says the operation of the Kaiser Field will be exempt from the JUA with the city. Hours of operation will be determined after the CEQA process. But then on page 8, it now determines the use and the times. And it talks about the use of the fields, the following times. Again, the question is that they're contrary to one another. One says, we're going to wait till the CEQA process to determine the operation. Nothing about the lighting yet.
What we don't have here is the end times yet, because that's what we're waiting for on CEQA.
And actually, it's the same way in both contracts.
And actually, it doesn't say when the lights go on and the lights go off.
It's on page 7 in the other contract.
It says when the city shall have use of the fields.
Yes.
It doesn't say when the lights go on and the lights go off and.
Okay, but this doesn't talk about the lights, in 1.3 does not talk about the lights. It talks about the hours of operation. And this one is talking about the hours of operation.
No, it's talking about the use.
It's use of field, it's under use of
Wasn't that
field.
isn't that operations? I'm sorry. Okay, all right, I'm just,
It's legalese.
It's in both.
okay, great.
Yeah. And the CEQA thing is in both about,
I know, and so do we wait till CEQA until we identify whether it's going to be Saturdays from 8 a.m.? Because the CEQA process may say, no, you can't have it at Saturdays at 8 a.m., it has to be 9 a.m. But we're saying, because one says CEQA is going to determine the operations, and now we're saying the use is going to be at 8 a.m.
Wouldn't CEQA override our thoughts? We're thinking, we would love to let you have it after 8 o'clock, but those evil, mean CEQA people won't let you get it till 9 o'clock.
I don't know. I'm
think-
just asking the question.
it's in both, Martha, though, the same way.
I know it is,
Okay,
because
well,
both of them are
you said
CEQA.
one of them are
Well,
saying
because
one
I'm just, because they're both, this one is separate, because this is artificial field.
I believe that we were very clear to the city that
Okay.
the operation hours will be determined by the CEQA process.
Okay.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I do have one more, and this is, again, just how it's formatted. I just wondered why they're formatted differently. Were you wondering about that?
The margins are different on the two pieces of paper.
Well,
so-
they're formatted different, too. Like,
We said that.
Davis has ABC, and Kaiser has 1.1, 1.2, 1.3.
And we did-
It's not a big
but we
deal.
did ask
It
for
drives
that.
me crazy.
We did ask for that to be the
Oh.
same, so it may or may not have gotten.
You don't know, the Kaiser one online may be like that now.
Oh, okay.
Let me look.
Yeah,
Okay.
maybe, but we'll go back and look at it,
Okay,
make
so
sure.
how about some cards? We'll do some cards.
Sure.
If you guys have some
Yeah.
more comments.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're
Mark-
excited.
10.2 went to A, B, C.
Mark our blaster. I just know it's Mark.
Good evening. On
Mark.
this, Mark Arblaster, 30-plus year resident, Newport Beach, 2 kids, grown, all attended Newport-Mesa Unified School Districts. Thank you. So my kids are out of school. My wife and our kids are out of school, but I'm still very active in the youth sports community in the Newport-Mesa Unified School District. In 2005, myself and a few other dads, we started the Newport-Mesa Soccer Club. It's youth soccer for boys and girls in the area. I'm still president 13 years later. Apparently, there's no one else wants it. But so when my son was 11 and we practiced at Kaiser, I was coming to hearings, fighting to get lights, more lights, lights in the city for them. So he's 27 in 2 weeks. The fight goes on. We're not Irvine, we're not Irvine, but we'd love to be in terms of fields and resources for our kids, right? And more. Let me segue. So there's 2 agreements. Davis and Kaiser, I support both. Our group does. We're 350 local kids. Davis in particular, because Davis is our home field. Since 2010, we became essentially the only tenant, I say tenant because we pay rent, to rent those fields. In 2010, that backfield wasn't usable for field sports because there was a baseball diamond that was no longer used, hadn't been used for years, and it kind of sat out in the middle. You couldn't use it for any field sports. So over the past 9 years now, we've dropped about $100,000 to fixing up the fields. There's 2 fields at Davis. we started with removing the backstop, removing the brick dust that basically turned into cement. So now it's made it viable for soccer. And then every year every summer during renovation, we would drop between 6 and 1 year we dropped 20,000 into it, sod and sand and fillers and you name it, soil amendments, to where now it's went from a lumpy, bumpy playground to it's pretty good athletic surface. Okay, so like I say, we're pretty much the only tenant. Although 3 times a year we step aside and let ASO do their tournament, use our goals, our equipment, happy to be good friends. Same thing with Pilot Cup. We step out in May so Davis can practice, and then the Pilot Cup games go on there, and we support that. So one of my concerns is, hate for us to get bumped out of the queue in terms of using it, but it's definitely needed here in the city. Support both programs. This start time on Sundays, it says 9. At Davis Specific, you should start at 8 because there aren't any homes right there. You got T. Winkle softball that goes on. So each site is special and different. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yes.
So we will revisit that because it is, okay.
See what CEQA says.
Brett Eccles.
Good evening, Madam President and trustees. Brett Eccles, Costa Mesa resident, former president of AYSO Region 97, current board member of Costa Mesa United, and still have a child at Kaiser Elementary, right where we're talking about. So much like Mark, it is funny, he was involved in this fight before I was. And I call it a fight, and I'm trying not to be mean, but it's been a fight for so many years to get our kids. As we know, it gets dark. It's going to get dark real quick here in a week or two, depending what happens with certain propositions. Daylight savings time could be fluctuated. So we've been down that road about playing fields in our communities. So I just want to get up here and urge you to vote to ratify this agreement, to bring back to the city, and hopefully, as has been pointed out, the city, maybe with some new council members, will be voting on this in a month or two. We'll see what happens. But it's just been a long time coming. I just really want to thank each and every one of you for doing what's right for this community and our children. I want to thank your staff and the authority that you vest in Kirk and of course Fred and all the staff who's worked together with the city staff to put together a couple of really great agreements, to see the two entities, city and the school district, to work together to come up with, I think, a workable plan. There's probably some tweaks, like as Mark said, CEQA you mentioned, and there's some things that can be tweaked, but at the end of the day, let's move forward. The city, much like the joint use agreement that we have with you right now, it can be worked out. And the lights are so critical. The new, not just the lights though, but at Kaiser Elementary, some additional parking. At Davis, you know, some reconfigurations out there with new turf. And these things are just great opportunities for improvement for our community. And with the growth in all the sports, not just soccer, but lacrosse and all these other growing sports, flag football, ever go to Jack Hammett, see how many folks are out there for that. So to be able to partner with the school district and your facilities out there is a huge thing that we need to do. So I'm going to urge you to please vote to ratify the agreement, and then we'll go on to City Hall and hopefully get this thing done once and for all. So thank you for your time and appreciate your support.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate your support. I know that Brett's been fighting this for
A long time.
a long time. I think we talked about it 2 years ago, and you'd already been fighting for it for 10 or something. So I appreciate Costa Mesa United and you supporting us, and I'm with you. Let's get moving. Okay, I have another speaker. One of my favorite people, Gordon Bowley. Oh, I was going to say favorite old people.
Take it, Madam President.
Should I not have heard that? Fred, Madam President,
fellow trustees, I was actually going to speak after you voted, and thank you.
Oh.
But instead, I'm going to compliment you on bringing this together with the city and AYSO 97 and Costa Mesa United, and thank you for your consideration. And I'd like to thank Brett Eccles and Mark for spearheading this attack over all these many years. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, and Brett Woods.
Okay, I'm going to make this really quick. I sent everybody an email earlier.
Yes.
Didn't know if I'd get a chance to make it over
Yeah,
here
yeah,
tonight,
yeah.
but I thought since I could run over here real quick, just wanted to say thank you for all of your guys' work and all the attention that's put to this, and staff and everything. It's we need it. It's a really big deal to us. So thank you.
It is. Thank you. Thank you. Can I ask about the time frame? I know I always ask about this. We all ask about it.
The one, and I'll make the other.
Mr. Holcomb?
I'm sorry, I don't know the time frame.
Okay, so if we move this forward and it goes to the city, the next step is the signing and then.
So let me give you the next steps, okay?
Okay.
So what we're asking for you is to approve our proposal today.
Right.
We will take it to the city as a proposal. They may have some, we may have some back and forth, and we'll come back to you with that. But we will try to work with the city as much as possible to get an agreement with them that closes the deal, so they can take it to their council as soon as possible.
Okay.
But before we allow them to do that, we'll come back to the board and say, or at least to the three members at least, to say, look, this is what they wanted, this is what we agreed to and compromised. Virtually from my perspective, and I've said this many times before, I love working with the city. They're great partners, but my responsibility is to make sure that the dollars we get go onto the desks of kids, okay, and into the programs of our kids and into the athletic pursuits of our students. That's what our money is chartered for. The city's been really good about listening to that, and so we expect them to cover the cost of all of this and the maintenance of all of this in the future. So this does have, the city has seen this proposal before. You saw it, so there is some agreement. They in turn, like us, will have to take that document that we finally come to agreement with, run it by their council and see if their council will agree to certain things. So I can't say it's going to be on a first run that they'll accept it. The council may direct city staff to come back and say, no, we would like you to ask about this and
But
change
they've
that.
seen it once.
They've seen it a couple times.
A couple of times.
Not the council.
Oh, council hasn't seen it at all?
No, just city
Okay.
staff.
So there could be some changes that it could be that this is not our final time
This
looking
is,
at it.
yes, that could be.
It could come
true.
back to us.
Yes.
Okay, so once it's all approved, then what do we do then?
Well, then Tim will, actually we'll hand the ball over to Tim, and he will put out an RFP for the architect.
Okay. That's my.
And then that will
that's
go
why
into
it's
design
2019.
and drawing, and those will come back to you just like any other project. We will have a joint team of the city staff with whatever staff we have from our district that's working on it. Maybe a construction management company to lead this. And then they'll keep you appraised of all of it. We will, since the city's paying for it, we want to incorporate as many design features as they want or need for their programs without compromising our instructional program as well. So it'll be a little, working together, negotiating. Everybody compromises, and we get to a point where we can move forward. The final design will come back to you for approval, as well as the cost. At which point, if you approve all that, the city will have to pay up front the construction costs to the district, so that we can go into construction and bid out for the contractors.
Okay.
I have another question. I do have another question.
Oh, okay. Oh, Mrs. Floyd.
Mr. Armbruster brought up a very good point, and I don't see it addressed in here, and particularly about Davis Magnet School, because Davis is going to be going to artificial turf. And the question becomes about grandfathered users. So I would, we can't dictate how the city is going to operate that, but I would encourage you to go to the city council and talk about being grandfathered, because it will be a new day on that field because of the artificial turf. So, we can't dictate to them, you have to grandfather these user groups in. But, so I'm encouraging you to make sure that you get to the city and make your plea about being grandfathered in, because I'm just concerned about how they're going to operate that artificial turf field, because it'll be locked and it's a different operation.
Agreed.
Okay, is that all the questions? Can we?
Make a motion?
Okay.
Can we approve them separately? So Mrs. Fleur and I can each nominate our own fields? Or would
trustees.
you like them together?
I don't care. Do it. It's all right to do it separately.
Okay, go for it. I move that we approve the proposed cooperative agreement with the City of Costa Mesa and Newport-Mesa Unified School District for the submission to the City of Costa Mesa for the improvement, maintenance, and operation of the athletic field and related recreational facilities at Davis Magnet School.
Oh, you read that really well. Okay. Who wants to second?
Second.
Thank you.
We're just down here listening.
Oh, thank you. Well, wait till we get into Corona.
And then,
We haven't left yet, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so the motion is as stated, only it's just for Davis, and it's moved by Ms. Matoye and seconded by Ms. Yelsey. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Any opposed? Okay. And now the second motion.
move approval of the proposed cooperative agreement with the City of Costa Mesa and the Newport-Mesa Unified School District for the submission of the city, to the City of Costa Mesa for the improvement, maintenance, and operation of the athletic fields and related recreational facilities at Kaiser Elementary School.
Second?
Okay, so that motion is pretty much the same, except it's for just Kaiser. It was moved by Mrs. Fleur and seconded by Mrs. Black.
Yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed?
Yes.
Yay.
And I want to thank the,
Yes.
the
Well done, gentlemen.
the subcommittee, Mrs. Black, Mrs. Fleur, and Ms. Matoye, for your work is never done. Okay. We're moving on to board members' report, the most interesting part of the evening. We're starting with Karen, Mrs. Yelsey.
Thank you. Lots been going on. I may skip around here. First of all, I talked about Battle of the Bay already, but it was a wonderful event, and I don't think there were any incidents. So the game will continue on as a night event and not. Were there?
I heard in the community, because I live right there, and I thought there was, but there could be rumor.
Well, then, I did not hear that.
I live across the street, one house away, and.
It was.
Use your microphone, too.
And it was.
The night of, it was, I don't know, did anybody hear any? I'm talking, yeah.
Yeah, no incident. Matter of fact, our neighborhoods prepare for it, and and we are out there cheering, and we have great views from the end of our street, so it works out.
Come to your house.
But what was great about it is everyone was so positive.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean
Even
to-
Newport Harbor in being really crushed was very positive.
I know.
So,
I,
yeah.
when I heard, touchdown Corona del Mar, we all went, oh,
Yeah.
no.
Touchdown Corona del
Because we
Mar.
were
Okay. Okay, I'll try to do this, move on a little quicker, maybe. I went to a fall music program at CDM where they have all 14 music programs performing like a three-ring circus. At the same time, it was done in an hour and 15 minutes with 14 music performances in the gym. They go from one directly to another and get up and move around. It's really very exciting because then they even have the beginning orchestra, which is very beginning. These kids have only had their instruments for about 3 weeks. And what Mr. Homora likes to do is bring them on, because then in the spring concert, people can see how much they've progressed. But, I mean, it was amazing, with drum corps and like 7 different vocal performances, and the jazz band and the orchestra, and it was a pretty amazing event. Becky Gogol, for the first time, had a middle school coffee for parents. She's never done this before, but it was just very informal. They had it in the entrance to the theater, the opening. The foyer, yes. And it was very well attended, and parents just liked talking about anything. There was no presentation. It was just ask questions, things like that, and I think she will continue doing it. Mrs. Matoy and I both were at college night last week, which again, an amazing event put on. And I think it was very well attended by students, parents. The colleges that present there are really from all over, and it gives kids an opportunity to talk to people from places that they may not ordinarily think about. So it was really a very good night. The home tour, CDM home tour, was today. It was a fabulous event once again. It started at 8 o'clock in the morning, which is when I was there, at breakfast at Panko TDN. Lovely breakfast. Then there were 8 homes on the tour. I got to all 8 homes. I sped through them. Lunch was at Sherman Gardens. It's really, I mean, if you don't have other things to do in the afternoon, it's actually a lovely day just to spend the whole day. I talked to the chairs of this, and I said, can I tell anybody like how you did? They don't know for sure exactly, but she said, I know we raised over $200,000. So they don't know the exact number because there were still things going on today at the boutique and sales today and things like that. But these people, these ladies, mostly ladies, there are some men involved, work so hard, really 12 months a year to put this on. And it's really a very special event. I was at the Newport Coast Jogathon, and this is a jogathon season, I think, for all the schools. And they also raise a ton of money for their PTAs at each of these events. And I ran a lap with, actually 2 laps with Mrs. McCormick, and all the kindergarten kids were passing us. I was like, what's this all about? But it was super fun.
You were cheering them on.
I was cheering them on. I was cheering them on. And, at CDM Zone Pack, George Knights came to speak to the group about the testing. And it was, everyone really appreciates it because he got into all the ways as we do when we look at, well, can we look at it this way? Can we look at it that way? And I think all the PTA parents really appreciated hearing about that. So it was good. And that's it. I'm done.
Okay, so I came towards the last hour of the college and career because I raised my hand to do cleanup. And but I have to tell you before I get into, I mean, because it was fabulous. There were so many people, colleges and whatnot there. But the M&O department, Annie Younglove and Mr. Vossen, and they were looking at me saying, okay, all of these tables have to be broken down and taken to the back. And I was like, there's no way. There's 5 of us. And we have 1 student that was helping, But then M&O showed up. And the cavalry came in and talk about efficient.
Saved your life.
But we helped break down, and then there was a Vitalink was there with the whole team. They broke down and set up, and so it was really fabulous. But what really caught my attention, visiting with the different colleges, because my kids went there, so I got to go see how it was going. But our project Lead the Way and our teachers from the district, there was 6th grade teacher from Kaiser that was there, and Ensign, and our my hero who taught me about Project Lead the Way and engineering, and I just lost her name. She is my hero, though. I talk about her all the time. She's a teacher at Costa Mesa High School, and she put together...
Racine Cross.
Racine? Who?
Racine Cross.
Racine, thank you. I was reading the other teacher's name. So she put this together so that our families would have it, and so they did, they gave away over 100 of these. So I got one for each of you because it's nice for you to have, so you can just see in a nutshell. They show, all the, here, pass these down. Oh, you have one, okay.
I think,
I'll pass them
I'll
down.
take it down.
Okay.
I take it back, I don't have
Okay,
one.
but don't worry, I will send it down. So just the, I know, just some of the classes. So we have automation and robotics, computer science, design and modeling, flight and space, green architecture, medical detectives. And we all know this, but the public may not.
And so what we kept hearing, and the teachers were so fantastic explaining to the parents, and the line was, I don't know if it was as long when you were all there, but when I was there was, probably 30 people deep. And they're looking at, talking to the teachers, trying to learn more about it. So if you build it, Dr. Navarro, they will come. And so we had lots of students and young students and families there asking about it. So I encourage us to maybe put this on the website, our website, because they did a really, Racine did a great job, her staff, and, in a nutshell, it's something that I think, people would love to have, and, on that. And saying that, as you know, we're members, as board members, I'm actual delegate from California School Board Association, and part of our job is to validate applications for the Golden Bell Award. And Mrs. Floor, and God bless Judy and Mrs. Floor for doing this. So I had the opportunity this year to do it. At Canyon High School in Orange Unified, they applied for aviation. And so I have to tell you, I was so blown away.
Cool, huh?
I'm going to try and figure out a way to corner our staff.
Bring it into our district, yeah.
It just is amazing. So I'm going to share this with you as well. But the aviation, they've been doing it for a while, and the instructor's name is Steve Smith, and they have simulators there. So I was able to start the day. I was greeted by the principal there, Abercrombie, I think is his last name. Thank you, Craig. And the red carpet, and I got to see their studios, and they've been doing all of this at Canyon High School. But they actually have a hangar, and they have 2 planes, and the students get the hands-on. But the real exciting part, 50% of the 20 so students that I met with are girls.
Great.
And they were just as articulate, as the boys were. They showed me how they land the planes and doing this simulator, and they get into project-based learning, very high-level math, and they all said that this really helped them along the way. So I shared with them that our Costa Mesa High is doing the, it's not aerospace, but it is aerospace. Engineering, yeah. And so this is aviation, so. And so then they also had a student that was in town who's graduated, who's in the Air Force, for this is one of the first students. So, so there's a little bit of background, so if you ever want to borrow it, and it's all on a grant.
Did you say they have airplanes or just simulators?
They have small airplanes that are.
At the school?
It's our.
All right, so let me.
Russell's like going,
It's our.
Okay. So they have like a
things are going
garage.
off.
They have like a garage that's open air. Open air.
Okay.
And so you would store things, or maybe golf carts or something like that in them, but it's quite large. And they have a small plane. The wings are not attached, so they can't fly away.
Thank you.
And
Little piece that was just missing.
but the wings are there, and the students, they could put them on, I guess, and push start it out. But they also
We'll see that on the news.
It's ROP.
yeah. So they I mean, it was fabulous. And the students, I ended up staying a lot longer than I thought, because the students invited me to come into their groups, and and they really wanted me to get on the simulator. And I crashed and burned the last time I did that, so I didn't want to embarrass myself. So I let the girls and everyone else show me how it was. But it was really terrific. So for no other reason, just to have a great, so the CTE and all of these students that I never did well in math, now their teacher, Mr. Smith has encouraged me, and so it really was a target for at-risk students, and I think I'm saying Craig's name. Abercrombie, yeah, really nice, and I really felt very special. It's nice.
We want
Great.
So with that, but also kudos to everyone that did the college and career. It's a huge
a lot of work.
Huge.
Yeah. PTA. PTA does a lot of work on that.
Don't have.
They're right? They're your volunteers.
I had
Yeah.
on it, and she tried a new online thing. that was the first year doing it, so I think we need to do it the old-fashioned way too. And
Yeah.
also with the sign.
She did a great job, though. I have to tell you, she was out there helping, and her son. I mean, and we were there till 9:30, 10 o'clock, and they just did she did a great job. She rolled up her
Hoping
sleeves.
for more volunteers,
Right.
I know.
You know, it's hard doing it the first year with the sign-up genius and all this.
It is hard. It's, yeah.
More
Okay.
goals for next year.
And I agree with, I think the handwritten, because they're signing up,
you
you're
wanna
seeing
see.
them, they're asking questions, and, but the people that were there really rolled up their sleeves and helped, and M&O is literally, I could hear the trumpets blowing, because we were like, oh my gosh, we're saved. Because those gals were on their feet from 7:30 in the morning until that time.
Wow.
On the concrete all day, so yeah.
Judy? No. Ms. Franco? Mr. Davenport?
No reports this evening.
Okay, and you don't have a report, do you?
I do.
She doesn't ever have it.
You never
Okay, I'm
have a
gonna pass
report.
down the candy. Anybody in the audience?
I do have, I have a couple of, no, I haven't, I have been rather busy, but I do have a couple of requests. So I'm putting them out here. One is, Van mentioned about the fluid
Oh, yeah.
fluid system. I'd really like to know more about that, and if we could have a presentation by John or somebody about what the fluid system is. Does that mean that kids are getting credit for, and what are they doing to get credit in 6 weeks to pass a course? I mean, I find that really hard to get us. So I'd like to know, I'd like to have a presentation on the fluid system, because I know that they've adopted it, but I don't think we all know exactly what that
Just
exactly
information about
means.
it.
So if you could,
Information.
so I don't have to have it right now, so whenever, so it's okay with you. Second one is lots of discussion about some of these trips. Early College High School talked about the financial literacy series. What a great idea with Wells Fargo. What type of, they're learning things. I thought that was great, so I'd like some little bit more information on that. And then also, we send our kids to a lot of these trips, like the Zion trip, which is science-based. And then they mentioned survival skills, and I thought, okay, this is really cool. This is real cool. One of these days, I would really like to have a report back. What did the kids learn? I mean, we approve the report. We approve the trip. It identifies what they're supposed to be learning, but we never get a report back. So I just would like to, one of these days, I would like to have a report back. I'd like to hear from some students that said, hey, this was really cool. The best part of this trip was I learned this, or this was not real cool.
Best part of the trip may not be what they were intended.
And then finally, the kids talked a lot about some of their things, but I want to know whether there's a possibility that we can put some of these things on the website. The music program, the 14 are we recording these, and why aren't they on our website? The Halloween film that Newport Harbor's doing, why can't these be on our website, or at the very least, can't they be shown as a pre-loop, as an entertainment at our board meetings, before the board meetings?
That would be cool.
Stick it on here and have it as a loop before our board meetings start. So that we're talking about, we talk about all the programs, but the community doesn't know those programs, and it would be a great opportunity for us.
We just need to hire 2 more people.
We do. But if we could have these filmed, if they're being filmed, it would be just
good
a
idea.
wonderful opportunity to have keep spreading the great work that we do, because I think we do an amazing job with our kids. So
We do.
for our kids and with our kids.
Okay, Mrs. Toye.
Miss,
Sorry.
She's passing these down.
How rude. How rude. She's a Girl Scout leader, so we must.
I didn't pass these down.
I did. I opened my box.
And
to
cookies
share.
aren't enough, so we get candy too. On the 11th, Mrs. Black and I attended the CAC's, one of their first parent meeting nights. They do their parent meeting in 2 sessions, one during the day, and then a duplicate of the session at night, which happens to be tonight. And it was Dr. Mark Lerner, who's a physician that's a consultant for Newport-Mesa, and he was speaking about the psychological and sociological stress on children with special needs, so that he was able to talk about any added concerns. And it was held, we kept my attention for the whole hour and a half, and it was very well attended. Harper's School was full, and it was, if you ever get a chance, and it's not on a Tuesday night, feel free to attend. They're very, very interesting. On the 13th, Costa Mesa High School hosted a Southern California regional band tournament. Kudos to Costa Mesa High School, who dealt with the rain and a band tournament. So they started out on the field, then it started raining too hard, and then they had to go into the gym. Then it stopped raining enough for them to come back out on the field. And I was lucky enough to be there when Mesa took the field, but it was really interesting because the rain would stop. The children entered the field, the rain would start. They played in the rain, they were all done, and the rain would stop. So I thought, I don't know how. Mother Nature figured it out when they were playing, but it was really fun. Mesa, because they were the hosting band, did not get to rank in a place, but standing in the stands and listening to them play made me very proud. It was pretty neat, and seeing some big bands with big ginormous schools. So we did okay. And then on the 14th, after the rain, we did the first ever Costa Mesa High School Community Beautification Day. There were about 150 people came out, in addition to the National Honor Society group from Costa Mesa High kids. And the school was divided into 10 sections, and everybody got a section. I personally found very interesting things in the parking lot over by the gym. And that was my job, picking up the stuff. So that was fun, which beat scraping the gum off the concrete, which I left to the child, who could bend better than I could. So it was really good, and boy, the comments that I loved from the kids were, oh my goodness, people don't know where to put gum. My job was to scrape it off from underneath the lunch tables. And it's like, I'm going, this is perfect. Every child should have to do this. Gum would never be on the ground. So that was terrific. I too got to do the Great American Shakeout. I was over at College Park, which was lots of fun. They delved deep. They brought out lots. They stopped once they got everybody into place, and then put things back because it was a pretty warm day. They didn't want to leave the kids out sitting on the field longer than they needed to, since there was no earthquake for them to actually have to sit out there for. So that was good. And then last Friday, I did a combination.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I was doing a lot of music stuff. A combination of Orange Coast College Science Night, which used to be where the university teachers and students put on demonstrations of the different departments. And at one point, it was from several school districts in Orange County. And pretty much now, it's just Newport-Mesa. So it was really fabulous. The Davis Magnet Elementary Band played, while the university, Orange Coast College, provided a hot dog dinner. And then you got all these different things. One of the highlights was the ginormous explosion that we all heard. And from my past science experience, I said, oh, that must be chemistry, because chemistry explodes. And it was a volcano that they were building. And then the big thing in life science was the entire stomach that had been taken over by hair in someone that was a pica-eating human being. And they have pieces. It was the highlight. It was one of those, ew, oh, ooh, yeah, very exciting, especially for a science person. And then I walked back across the street and went to Costa Mesa High School homecoming. It's something you can't even imagine. Costa Mesa High School homecoming, and again, the band was fabulous, and the homecoming halftime shows were always great. And this is a question for M&O and secondary, and I bet I know the answer anyway. I was asked, gee, how come they don't bring the princesses out in the cars like they used to? And then I thought about the fact that we have brand-new turf fields and we're not driving cars on the turf fields. Was I right?
On the track.
On the track. Right, because that's where they were. So
Are carriages allowed?
they walked. It worked.
Only golf.
Golf carts.
Oh, they can do a couple.
We could probably do something like that, but it was beautiful and exciting, and so that was great. And then trunk or treats are happening all over our district in the next 3 days, so those are exciting that are coming up. We have the Battle of the Bell on Friday, and it's Go Mesa! And it's currently Red Ribbon Week, which has always been hard for me to say, but I very much enjoy it. I usually end up sounding like Elmer Fudd and saying Wed Women Week, so. I'm exhausted, but I did a lot of these things by myself, so.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Okay, so today we actually went to a ribbon cutting. I'm surprised no one mentioned it, but it's been a really busy day, yeah. At Newport-Mesa, new playground, and the grassy area in partnership with the city. So, really great. And it took a long time. You guys started working on this several years ago? Before me, I think, yeah.
We're always working on it.
Okay.
Things happen so quickly.
They do. And the Orange Coast College Student Center groundbreaking.
That's right.
And really, I think we're all really excited about all the changes that are happening at Orange Coast College with the new student center, with the housing that they're building. And they just finished their planetarium. Yeah, a lot of good things happening there. So, and kudos to me for going to Estancia homecoming
In the rain.
game and sitting in the rain. I don't know why I did that. Yeah.
And you're not sick.
No, and actually, Kurt Bauermeister was there, and I went up and asked him a very important question because there was lightning, and we were sitting on metal bleachers, and people were asking me, who calls the game? Who says enough's enough?
Right.
And I said, not me. So I went to Kirk, and he said the officials call the game. And but you assured me they knew what they were doing. But there was a lot of lightning. It was a little bit scary.
We were also checking with Officer Torres, and we had
good.
radar on his phone, and we were looking to see actually where it was, and the CIF standard is 5 miles.
Oh, okay.
And if it's within 5 miles, then you have to cancel the game, and it was never within 5 miles.
Sorry,
No, 'cause you
Vicki.
yeah, really. You didn't really hear any thunder.
No.
So, but the whole sky was lighting up. So, and fall in love with the West Side. I don't know if you all attended. It was so fun. This is a fair that is put on by Estancia PTA, and it's an artisan fair, and it was last weekend. And you're looking. Oh, didn't know about that? You're looking at me so
She's zoning out.
Starting to glaze.
Okay, sorry.
Just in the seats.
I'm really almost done. I also went to the Estancia High School water polo alumni game, which was really entertaining. They had a lot of old guys in those little.
Old guys with Speedos?
Yeah.
Oh, special.
And
That's just
sorry.
a picture I don't want to even think about it.
Yeah,
I
but
can't unsee that.
they won. They won. But it was close. But they won. And but they cheated a lot. They did. They were drowning. These poor young
kids.
men. Yeah, they were. I don't know. I
thought that
guess
was
there's a lot of dirty play under the water too. I guess there's kicking and yeah.
Yeah, that's what water polo is all about.
I didn't know that. So, but it was entertaining. It was also in the rain. It was the next morning, but that's okay. And let me see.
Yeah, I'm surprised.
That's it. So committee reports.
I have a report.
Okay.
No.
No, okay. Couple of things. At our ROP meeting, which was Thursday, which is where I was for the Great American Shakeout at an ROP meeting, The career specialists from the 5 different districts made a presentation about what their job entails, because it's a lot more. And the lovely career specialist from Costa Mesa High School shared that she has instituted the Lunch and Learn, which is a monthly series of bringing, and it really involves it's parent engagement, because not only do they look, but they're also talking to the parent, having the parents come and share their careers, and it's a great opportunity. Lots of involvement, and so that's one of them. And so many of the career specialists do an outstanding job, and I have the presentation, and I'll send it over to you. The other thing is that they are exploring a summer school program for 7th and 8th graders with part of their funding. Carol reported that we still don't have the guidelines for the CTIG money, $150 million. We still don't have them. They're still drafting them. We don't know what's going on with it. We do know that the presentation from Coastline, that money is coming from their money, the workforce money. That's how we're getting that program through us. And many of the districts were really excited to hear about our new partnership. And then finally, we have authorized Carol Hume to make contact with school services. And this is a particularly of importance because they are going to assist us in looking at the JUAs. As we have been talking, and Russell and I have been talking about the funding, how's the funding working, because we are all operating under a 2007 model in terms of allocation of courses, allocation of teachers. It just got to be really, really big, and every single school district has different issues. Saddleback is losing numbers of students. They've lost like 500, significant declining enrollment. But they're under a different guise. Our enrollment is staying stable, but we're still under a 2007. So it became really, really hard for us to do it internally, and so we decided, let's get a third party to get involved, and school services has the expertise. Carol Fry, who was an executive with Metro RP, which is the largest ROP. It's in Fresno. It's the largest ROP in the country. In California. And then they are also doing some restructuring as it relates to North Orange County ROP. So we are going to be having them come and take a look and evaluate, start working on the drafting. And so I know they're going to be speaking to Russell. They'll probably talk to John. They'll talk to Michael. Eventually, probably you, Dr. Navarro. So that's an important part of it, because we want somebody, an outside person, and they've got the expertise, and we have, we're contracting with them. So that's my report.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to superintendent.
I'm still recovering from the contract discussion, so I have no report.
I'm sorry that went so long. It's terrible.
It was nothing compared to the one we had with the committee.
Good evening. I would like to share with you, you heard Gary share with you about our Classified Staff Development Day. It is our 17th annual, and so you do have a brochure. Over the last couple of years, we have gone to a theme. And this year's theme is communication is key. And this came out of conversations with CSEA and collaboration with CSEA about how do people communicate, how do we work together, get along. And so that's where most of the workshops will be focused. There are some others that are there. The CPR first aid, I know that we have received several calls regarding it. Actually, that one session is available to folks who it is in their job description, that it is a requirement, and so it is limited at this time. But the other ones are, unfortunately, I will be presenting for managers that day. Otherwise, there are a few there that I wouldn't mind sitting in on myself. So if you have the opportunity, it's at Costa Mesa, you would be very welcome to join us. And kudos to Kristen Clark and her team, Esther Caldwell, for putting it all together. They worked really hard on making that day a success.
But we can't go to the CPR one, huh?
No, it's not in your job description. It's limited.
Okay.
Thank you.
I like the quotes that they've included.
And the cartoons.
No report.
No report.
So today, Mr. Holcomb and I went to the Schools for Sound Finance presentation, and interestingly, they made one comment about some redevelopment agency kinds of legislation that may be coming out. And you're aware that redevelopment agencies, these are agencies that are carved out, and so it helps with blight and those kinds of things. And so all the property tax associated with this area then gets plowed back into that area for development. And it can be very helpful.
But they got rid of
so,
them.
for example, in honor of Mrs. Black, it could be for our Newport-Mesa Airport and hangar. But anyways.
Hey, I live in the redevelopment area. Thank you very much.
Anyways, there is some legislation to bring those back a little bit. And so as you're in your talking with your policy folks and your friends and those kinds of things, if you hear that, your spidey sense will want to go up, your antenna will want to go up, because that has a special implications for community-funded districts. And so you want to pay close attention to that if that comes up.
Because will that impact, well, because Santa Ana Heights, which is where I reside, that's a redevelopment agency.
Right.
That's because we're the largest, because it's the airport.
Yeah.
So, and then that was Triangle Square was a redevelopment, part of the redevelopment agency. So that money would come.
Does it come off of the
Well, right now, the redevelopment agencies have been ended.
They've been ended.
And so those property tax increments are now coming back to the district, where before they were going to the redevelopment agency.
Okay.
And so we're getting millions of dollars over and above what we used to get.
We do.
That's right. So now if the redevelopment agencies come back for a community-funded district, that has some implications, and there might be some interest that we'd want to be involved in that conversation if they do come back. So just as an awareness for you as you're...
Might start talking to some of the city council people.
Yes.
And our collaborative
Well
groups that
put.
might want to come and talk with us.
Okay.
I'm with Dr. Navarro, no report.
Okay.
I do have a report.
Good.
Our teachers are absolutely on fire in their learning, and a lot of that is the result of a lot of hard work of many people. Dr. Navarro had an opportunity to attend the kickoff for our language K-5, K-6 English Language Arts Moonlight Series. Which was put together by our elementary TOSAs, and incredible amount of learning going on around complex text and making sure that our kids at each grade level are living in grade level complex text a majority of the time, and how to support them accessing that. So just incredible work going on there in kinder through sixth grade, as well as over 200 hours of opportunities for teachers in math instruction, different ways that they can access different levels like fraction labs and fluency and so forth. So there's different opportunities that are going on just about every single day for teachers, and they're taking advantage of it. Last Thursday, we had over 60 teachers attend after school to the language arts training. And on a regular basis, we have about 80 teachers participating in fluency series, 20 teachers participating in fraction labs. It's really incredible what's happening out there and the learning that's going on. And that's going to lead right into November 1st. In secondary, from supporting our history social studies adoptions and giving teachers time to really dig into the materials that they're going to be piloting, to instructional approaches in our language arts classrooms are all being organized, putting final touches on all of those, and that November 1st will be a great day. I'll send you information in relation to all the different opportunities teachers have to learn. And when we go back to kind of the K-6 implementation plan, 3-year plan of first year being learning, second year being revising and clarifying what they learned from the first year, and then continuing to refine year after year after that, that's the mode we're living in. And it's really exciting to see and be part of.
That's great. That's very cool.
Great.
Before Sarah left, she said I could have her time, so I'm going to...
Oh, excellent. Okay.
No,
Don't we have anything written in there yet?
that's against the rules.
No, I do have two very short items. First thing is, I forgot to mention when I was talking about thought exchange, that Mr. John Hoyce, the teacher over at Newport Harbor Digital Media Arts program there, doing a fabulous job. They have a wonderful facility over there. So when I went to visit them and asked them if they would do this introductory video, I got to see their facility. But I really wanted to give the kudos to Mr. Hoyce, who readily agreed to do this introductory video and pick some of his top kids to do this. So what I showed you is not complete. It'll have that great video with the kids on there. The other thing is I'm very pleased to hear that the Great Shakeout, our involvement in that from so many people this evening. It was a very good day in terms of taking I think a very big step forward when we're looking at our preparedness for, and this was an earthquake scenario, but it was more than just preparing for an earthquake. It was really preparing for emergencies. And so sites all did the drills, but we also did our drill here in our Bear Street facility. So as I've been saying, students are always our #1 priority, but we also need to look out for ourselves as staff and our visitors. So we practiced the drill here at Bear Street. And then we took it a step further. Dr. Navarro activated the District Emergency Operations Center. So we were able to not only conduct our drill here and be looking out for ourselves at Bear Street, but we also activated the EOC so that we are prepared to provide support for any site in our district. And over the last few weeks, I've been tapping a lot of people on the shoulder and asking them to be part of the EOC so that we have all positions covered as well as backups in every single spot. So it's very exciting to see, and I love the fact that so many people, like Gary did tonight, of sharing what they saw, their observations on how we can make our system better, because that's what drills are about and being prepared.
It was cool because the whole district radio system was going, and when Estancia came on, Estancia High School here, we had a water main break, and the blah, 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 blah feelings are all flooded, and I started to and then I went, this is a drill, Charlene, this is just a drill. And I thought, oh, wow, that's so cool. But everybody that has that district radio and could hear all the other sites, and kudos. It was,
and thank you for bringing that up, because as I stated, we weren't just doing the drill, but we were also practicing ourselves. So we put out, people didn't know this, but I gave out 4 scenarios for schools to report to our EOC. So when that information came in, the group in the EOC was tracking that information, putting it up on a very large board, and then talking through what we would do to support that site.
So there was a fake team going out there to shut off the water.
Yeah, we didn't physically do it for this drill, but we talked through the process.
It was really cool.
That's cool. Cool.
Okay. So, has everybody said what they want to say?
Move for adjournment.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, good night. Thank you for coming and staying.